Happy New Year, everyone. We all hope you had an amazing Christmas. And we also hope your 2025s are getting off to a great start.
But not as good as mine, obviously.
Donald, can you just move into the White House already? I've had my ice cream machine packed and ready to go for like a month. I am so ready to get out of here.
And I am so ready to make America great again, Joe.
Just like the creator is so ready to get back into the swing of things here on YouTube. So while he gets everything prepared after returning from his holiday, we hope you enjoy this compilation of some of our gaming antics during 2024.
It's about time you showed up. You're almost as slow as Sleepy Joe. What kept you?
Yeah, sorry for that. I'll explain in a minute. Is Joe already here?
He's probably fallen back asleep by now, so we better go wake him up.
Acting like I can't hear your fat ass talking about me like that. Hey Barack, glad you could make it.
Good to see you again, Joe. How are you feeling after your dropout from the election?
Not gonna lie, man. It feels like a huge weight has been lifted off my back.
Yeah, well, don't get too comfortable yet, Joe. You've still got to run the country until the end of the year after all.
Does he? It's not like we've seen you in public since the announcement. Anyway, let's put politics to the side for now, since we all know I'm going to be back in office by the end of the election. How about you tell us why you were held up, Barack? We've been planning this catch-up for weeks after all.
I was basically just finishing up the showcase mode for WWE 2K24, and I honestly just forgot to check what time it was.
It's taken you this long to finish it? The game's been out for nearly 6 months.
Oh, come on, Donald, you know how tiring showcase mode can be. It's just the same thing every year. You go through a certain amount of moves that the game tells you to perform, watch some boring-ass cutscenes during the middle of the matches, and so on and so forth. I got up to the WrestleMania 25 match before I called it quits when I got the game a few days after its release. But I wanted to get my hands on the Fiend, so I made the decision to go back to the showcase mode and finish the rest of it.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I do agree with showcase being boring to play. It honestly feels like a massive slog to go through. I ended up having multiple McDonald's breaks before I finally completed this year's version of it, for example.
Multiple? Donald, how long did it take you to play through the showcase?
I'd say a whole 12-hour sitting. I did end up stopping 5 times during the course of it for those previously mentioned McDonald's breaks.
Donald, that's disgusting to think about.
Okay, you know what? I have to say it. Showcase mode really isn't as bad as you guys are making out to be.
Do you ever get tired of being wrong, Joe? I guess not, considering all the bad decisions you've made during your presidency.
What the hell happened to putting politics to one side?
I agree. Please, Joe, continue.
Thank you, Barry. So yeah, I honestly don't think showcase mode is as bad of a mode as people say it is.
May I ask why?
Well, for starters, it's not like you're playing the mode for no reason. Not only do you get a great nostalgia feeling going back and playing these legendary matches, but the rewards you get can be great. An example being the Fiend, the character that made you go back to finish this year's showcase to begin with.
But on the flip side, Joe, it honestly felt like a huge nuisance having to go back to it just so I could get the Fiend in the first place. I mean, I lasted 6 months playing the game before I finally made the decision that I needed Bray Wyatt's alter ego on my playable roster.
And in regards to playing those legendary matches, if I wanted to do that, Joe, I'd just create that match on regular play mode, which basically makes the showcase mode null and void.
But what if you wanted to recreate the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels match from WrestleMania 25 on play mode, but the actual arena wasn't available unless you went through the showcase and unlocked it?
Then at that point, it just becomes an obligation to play the damn mode, and that should never be the case.
Okay, look, maybe that's the case for this year's version, but I'd argue that's not the case for the rest of the showcase modes that we've been given over the years.
I'll agree with that. At the very least, some of the older showcase-like modes had a good enough reason to be played. In fact, whilst we've been talking about this, I've actually found a tier list covering them all. How about we go over them and give our takes on them, and see if Joe's argument is indeed a solid one.
I guess it would be a good way to kick off our catch-up day. Fine then, let's do this. I'm instantly noticing, though, that we have the Attitude Era mode from WWE 13. Should we even be counting that? It's not even a 2K showcase.
It's on the list, so I'm considering it viable.
Just making sure. Go ahead and put that one into the goated tier then.
Nice to see we're on the same wavelength for once. It's not like that happens often.
I'm so glad you agree with me, Joe. The Attitude Era mode was an absolute banger. It was the first time the games were truly dedicating time to acknowledge the great days of old. Not as old as you, of course, Joe, but my point still stands.
That shot was more forced than Roman Reigns' 2015 push.
As good as this mode is, I feel like you guys are overhyping it a bit.
You've entered dangerous territory here, Barry. Explain yourself.
I understand the praise for it. Fully bringing the Attitude Era to light in the games for the first time, as well as bringing back multiple legendary stars from the previous era, but bringing more than just the likes of Stone Cold and The Rock back as legends had already been established with the previous game. WWE 12's Road to WrestleMania incorporated multiple legends that we hadn't seen in ages. The Road Warriors, Vader, and Arn Anderson. And I can't help but feel that should maybe detract points from the Attitude Era mode.
I consider that point to be null and void, to be honest, Barry. I'd argue that SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 was the first game to do this, as it brought back legendary wrestlers for you to face during The Undertaker's road to WrestleMania, like Jake the Snake Roberts and He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Joe, are you even talking about the right franchise?
Nah, he's surprisingly cooking there, Barry. Look, having the wrestlers is great and all, but it's not just about them. It's about bringing everything back. You had the Attitude Era arenas that you'd unlock as you play through the mode, not to mention special attires too. Old school championships that we hadn't seen in quite some time. You could even unlock bonus matches through completing all of the objectives the game gave you. And if all that's not enough, you mentioned the legends, right? How about the crazy ton of Attitude Era stars they brought to the game too?
You don't need to educate me on this, guys. I know the deal with it. I just felt like my previous argument needed to be made for the sake of it. That's all.
Well, Barry, I'd argue that it shouldn't need to be made anyway because Road to WrestleMania and the showcase modes are two completely different things.
On the topic of Road to WrestleMania, we should definitely do a tier list for that mode too.
But yeah, great points all around, gentlemen. This was the time where playing past matches didn't really feel like a massive burden, as this was the first game in the WWE series that truly gave you the chance to play and experience those matches in a showcase-like format to begin with. That, and the fact it basically gave us a whole nother game worth of content with everything from the Attitude Era, puts this as a goated entry, regardless of if it's a true showcase mode or not.
Excellent start, gentlemen. And speaking of excellent, is that 2K14 showcase I see there?
I'm not too sure if they were even calling these showcases until 2K15, but yes, you would be correct, Donald.
Another banger, correct?
Jesus, Joe, I owe you an apology. I wasn't familiar with your game.
It's all good, Trumpy. It's nice to be able to move on after going at each other's throats in the election scene for the past 4 years.
Very true. For clarity, though, I would have beaten you this year.
For the love of God, Donald. Anyway, I'd argue that this version of celebrating WrestleMania has actually been further cemented as a banger game mode after this year's showcase.
I agree. I know we'll get into why this year's version was incredibly mid-later, but the overall showcase this year was pretty much botched, even without the issues that we'll be going over. 40 years of WrestleMania only had 21 matches. Now after playing it, I'm actually relieved about that fact, but in concept before 2K24's release. This felt like a major step down when you look at how much content the 30 years version in 2K14 had to offer.
How many matches did this game mode offer?
I'm over on Smack Talks now, and the list is as follows. You have the Hulkamania chapter for starters, 11 matches including his legendary clash with Andre the Giant.
Did you guys know me and Hogan are best friends?
Finding the strength to care about that is exhausting. You then have the New Generation chapter, which includes 7 matches. Then the Attitude Era chapter that includes 4.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It makes sense though, given how the last game was pretty much all about that era as we just discussed a moment ago.
Then the Ruthless Aggression chapter. 12 matches which included bangers like Batista versus Undertaker and John Cena versus Shawn Michaels.
Goldberg and Brock's first Mania match being a part of this is actually kind of hilarious though.
And then finally, what is labeled as the Universe Era chapter, which had the most recent Mania bangers at the time.
Like Edge versus Del Rio and Cena versus Miz.
Damn it, Donald, you know what I mean.
I think you mean Edge versus He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Okay, I see what you're doing now, Joe. Anyway, that brings us to a total of 47 matches. 26 more than what we got in 2K24's showcase.
So basically half of the McDonald's breaks Donald took during his showcase playthrough.
I'll allow that, Joe, since I made another election jab at you a minute ago. But yeah, that's a lot of goddamn content.
But I think a question does need to be answered here. Is this a case of quality or quantity?
Definitely quality. And I have 2 reasons to back up my argument.
Go ahead and tell us them, Donald.
For starters, the gameplay style of 2K14 is much quicker and free. What I mean by free is that you're not limited by the mechanics that WWE games have these days. Back then you could do anything. It was basically a massive sandbox where you could do whatever you wanted. And it added to the overall experience. As for my second reason, sure, there were objectives that you had to follow throughout the match you were playing, but they were nowhere as tedious as the ones you have to follow in the more recent showcases. The ones we have now just feel like an unnecessary way of panning out and extending the time you'd be playing the showcase for, which in turn makes them more of a burden to play through.
You know what? I think you've made your case perfectly there, Donald. I think we were all in agreement that 30 years of WrestleMania was going to go in the goated tier, but it was important that the quality and quantity question was answered. And the double count of matches in 2K14's showcase are definitely an example of quality, because of the reasons Donald just brought up.
Then I say we put it where it belongs and move on, gentlemen. Unfortunately, things begin to take a massive decline from here, and it never seems to recover after this.
Okay, hold on. Things may have gotten worse from here, but I'd argue the 2K15 showcase content wasn't the worst of it.
I agree, Joe, but potentially not for the same reasons. It goes without saying that 2K15 is one of the worst installments in the franchise. A terrible integration into the new generation that came with glitches, a lack of a roster, awful slow gameplay, and the removal of the unlimited sandbox style that 2K14 had. A terrible experience all around.
Very true. But what does that have to do with the showcase mode?
I had to set the scene, Barry, so I could then make the point on how 2K15 Showcase was a shining light in what was a huge downgrade of a game from its predecessors. It was because of 2K15's terrible quality that I feel the Showcase mode is able to be remembered more fondly because it's arguably the best part of the game.
That's a fair take. I mean, the whole showcase idea was still new at the time, too. Not to mention the objectives didn't feel as panned out as the ones we get in this year's version.
And the storylines 2K picked in the first place, I'd say, were pretty good. Whilst it may seem a bit weird to people that most of the showcase options came from 2011, which was just a few years before this game's release. The Punk and Cena summer feud, as well as Orton and Christian's rivalry, were fun enough to go back to. Not to mention the Hall of Pain as well.
But you know, guys, there is a black sheep hidden here.
Are you referring to the Warrior Showcase?
Correct. It's been documented since his passing a decade ago that the man behind the mask really wasn't as great of a guy as we thought. So these days I think, why on earth would I want to go back and replay a career of someone like that?
I don't care enough to argue that fact. So let's just put the Warrior Showcase in a lower tier and stick the others in good. Like I said, they're basically the best parts of 2K15 and should have a ranking that shows that.
Very good. On that note, I think I'm going to make the same case for the Stone Cold Showcase from 2K16.
Can we use the same argument here, though? I mean, 2K16 was a better game overall than 2K15.
Yeah, but these days I'd argue that it's only marginally better. Hell, the only 2K wrestling game from the previous decade I'd say is worthy enough to go back to is 2K19.
I'd argue 2K18 as well because the vibes with that game are on point.
Sure, the music and overall setting is pretty good, but the gameplay is just as slow as 2K16 and 17. Anyway, we're digressing. The point is that much like the showcase mode being the highlight of the previous game, I'd say that's also the case for 2K16 too. I know it's mainly because we're talking about playing Stone Cold Steve Austin's career, which basically makes the whole thing pretty epic anyway. But when literally everything else in the game is mid at best, it raises the stock levels of the showcase mode quite high because of the mediocrity of everything else.
What are you cooking, Donald? Because it smells delicious.
It's probably just the food for his next McDonald's break that we can smell.
Screw off Obama.
But yeah, I think enough has been said. Let's just stick this showcase into the good tier as well. Moving on though, we have the 2K16 and 17 Hall of Fame showcases next.
I actually don't remember a damn thing about these two, which is bad considering I'm the one defending the showcase mode in the first place.
It could be your dementia acting up, Joe.
Shut up, Donald. I know for a fact that you've forgotten about these two as well.
You would have laughed at that a decade ago, Barry. We live in such a snowflake era nowadays. But yeah, you're right. I've forgotten everything about these two. Barack, get your ass back on Smack Talks and give us some context.
I actually had to go to WWE.com itself to get some proper info. But basically, both showcases were made to celebrate the Hall of Fame classes of those respective years. So for example, with 2K17's version, you'd be able to get your hands on legends like Diamond Dallas Page, and it also came with some old school matches for you to play through as well.
As interesting as it sounds, it also sounds quite bare-boned as well.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I find this to be interesting information is because I honestly never bought either of these showcases, so I don't really know anything about them.
I think it's understandable why both of these are pretty forgettable. They were released during the second half of both the game's lifespans, and at that point it's pretty well known that the interest for that year's wrestling game would have mostly died down at that point. People perhaps looked at these DLCs and thought that they wouldn't really add too much to the game, instead thinking it could be a potential waste of money. And I can honestly understand that argument. They just both sound pretty mid to me. Kind of fitting we have a tier named that actually. Does anyone have an issue with me putting them there?
Nope, go right ahead.
Perhaps someone in the comments could educate us if it turns out these showcases are actually better than what we're saying.
Moving on to better pastures now, we have the Daniel Bryan showcase from 2K19.
I had a good time with this one, I won't lie. I think it's a blend of the showcase not being too long, combined with a much more fluid gameplay of 2K19.
And all the matches I'd say were relevant enough to be included in the mode. I really like how the showcase starts too. You get to play as Bryan Danielson in a match with John Cena on a random Velocity episode. It adds some much appreciated history from Bryan's career, instead of ignoring it like Vince would do whenever he was able to grab a popular indie star back in the day.
And then bury them after a few weeks. EC3 says hi.
As do many, many others.
Yeah, I think that's all that needs to be said. It's definitely one of the more simple showcases 2K have made, but that's why I like it. The objectives still weren't at a point where I feel like they were just padding out time. And as you said, Donald, the fluid 2K19 gameplay makes it even better. It helps seal this as a classic showcase in my eyes.
I wouldn't go that far, Joe. It's a good showcase to play if you have nothing better to do, but I definitely wouldn't call it goated or anything like that.
Fine, whatever. Stick it in the good tier then.
Good tier it is. Now as for the next showcase, Boys, I'm making the executive decision to put this into the bad tier and move on.
Anything regarding 2K20 can get put in the damn trash along with Kamala Harris.
Quit going after my VP like that.
She's literally my opponent in the election, Joe.
Joe, do you agree with my executive decision?
Oh yes, sorry Barry. As President of the United States, I order you to carry that motion, whilst also making the point that it's not the showcase itself that's at fault for this, but rather because of the fact that 2K20 is literally unplayable.
Whilst we're talking about that abysmal game, though, I'm quite surprised that the 2K Originals isn't on here.
That whole thing was more of a tower mode rather than a full-on showcase. Besides, even if it was on here, I'd refuse to talk about it anyway. We only played that mode to unlock the Fiend as a playable character, and that's it.
Wait a minute, that whole 2K Originals mode is real? I thought that was just some weird dream I had.
I'm not even going to make a dementia joke here because I wish I could forget about that whole damn waste of a mode too.
Let's return to greener pastures then with 2K22. The showcase mode would return. This time we would get one centered around the legendary career of Rey Mysterio.
Now this is when the objectives became a way to waste time rather than to progress the matches, which in turn ruined the overall experience for me. I won't lie, boys, because of that alone. I'd honestly just say to stick all the remaining showcases into the mid-tier and end this list.
Oh, come on, Donald.
See, I expected that response. Listen, that's just my opinion, but this is a group decision. So both of you give your points already, but just know I don't have much to add from this point on.
Let's get through these last few showcases quickly then. Whilst Donald is correct on the objective argument, I still had a good time playing through this showcase. A big part of it was probably due to the fact that we were playing as one of the most fun and exciting wrestlers to ever walk the earth. Rey's incredibly awesome moveset helped elevate the enjoyment levels here.
I really liked how completing the bonus match at the end of the showcase unlocked Dominic for your playable roster. Not to mention the alternate characters you can unlock here too, like Messiah Rollins and the unmasked Kane from 2008. This is how these kind of characters should always be unlocked, rather than locking them behind a paywall of a game mode that none of us are going to play.
The business side of me praises 2K for the scummy creation of my faction. The gamer side of me, however, wants to throw whoever came up with the concept of the mode straight into jail with no bail.
Speaking of unlockables, Joe, how about the alternate Rey attires?
Oh, 2K smashed those out of the park like it's a game of Wii baseball. As for the matches themselves, I thought they did a very good job with the selection. I found myself enjoying all the matches we were given. The showcase does enough in my eyes to give it a good tier at the very least.
I'm all right with that, Joe. How about the Cena showcase from 2K23?
Now, I will say the concept of this showcase was very well executed. Instead of playing through Cena's greatest hits, you get to play through all of his biggest misses, the biggest losses the man ever took in his career. Flipping the showcase concept on its head like that I thought was great. But that's all I've got to say. My earlier points still stand. It's mid to me.
Trump is right regarding the showcase concept point. It was a welcome change of pace for me. Not to mention most of the matches here are quite legendary. From his debut against Kurt Angle to his once-in-a-lifetime showdown with The Rock. And the absolute battering he took from Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Points once again go to the bonus match content from me. Getting to pick who you thought was Cena's greatest opponent in a final match was great. And then after that, you have to go up against the only character in existence that Goku himself would be fearful of.
Oh yeah, I got a laugh out of the Super Cena finale match. The showcase also had an incredible Easter egg. Joe, do you know about the alternate ECW One Night Stand ending?
Oh hell yes, Barry. As soon as I heard about that, I went back to the match with Rob Van Dam just to see it for myself. It was a great attention to detail.
I disagree. Where the hell was the riot scene from the angry ECW fans?
There is certainly a lot of character and effort in this showcase, and I personally think it overshadows the negatives that Donald brought up. So let's go ahead and stick this into the top of good tier.
That's perfect. Looks like we've reached the end game, boys.
40 years of mid.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but 2K24's showcase missed the mark for me. Compared to the 30 years version a decade prior, it's definitely lacking content. 21 matches is a lot, but that's only half the effort the 2K14 showcase gave us.
Don't be ignoring the variables, guys. A lot more time and effort has to go into perfecting games these days. So I can understand why there was only time to include half the amount 2K14 did. And I imagine 2K didn't want to tread on old ground too much and pick a bunch of matches already shown in the older showcase, as it may ruin returning playthroughs of it for some players.
Joe, don't be pretending that 2K gives a damn about players returning to a game that's 10 years old, considering how they're too busy shutting down the online services of literally the previous installment just over a year after its damn release. And let me just point this out, as Barack said, 21 matches is an amazing amount of content, but when you pad those matches out with completely unnecessary objectives, which forces me to play a match for 10 minutes longer than I should have, then that's when I draw the line and throw this hot garbage into the mid-tier.
If 2K are adamant on continuing the showcase mode after this, then they seriously need to reconsider the thinking of how they make the objectives, because with the way things are now, Showcase is one of the worst things about the games these days. Burden that you only play just to get some cool unlockables. I really do hope that they change things up in that regard, but as for 2K24's Showcase, it's a mid for me too. The negatives this time outweigh the positives.
As Donald said, this is a group decision, and the majority has voted on mid. So I won't argue with this.
Thank you, Joe. Well, that was a lot of fun. I think this calls for my long-awaited McDonald's break. Anyone else in?
McDonald's jokes at your expense aside. Yeah, I'm pretty famished.
All right, so sir, we may have a bit of an issue with your order
Right, two things. First of all, why the hell do we have the disgusting British taking people's jobs here in America?
What you mean disgusting? I put deodorant on before I came here, no cap.
Second of all, what exactly is the problem with my order?
It actually concerns the three of you in your gang. You all wanted a Poggers slice of apple pie with your orders, but we've only got one left at the moment.
That makes no damn sense. It's 11:30 in the morning.
I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that this is a beta move by the staff for real, no cap. Anyways, you three are gonna have to negotiate whilst chewing down on some death sticks to decide who gets this rizzy slicey of the apple pie yay for real.
I'm gonna assume that all that slang you just said is not what came out of his mouth, right?
I am at least 83% sure that he, at the very least, probably said something like that.
So Trump hates the British, as I'm sure most of us do. What else is new? Can we get back to the main situation at hand?
Right, of course. Boys, this is very important. A perfect McDonald's meal cannot be finished without a gorgeous slice of apple pie goodness filling your throat after.
Why in God's name did you have to say it like
But
that?
boys, I might have a way for us to settle who gets that apple slice.
What you got in mind?
I've got 2K24 in my console at the moment, and before the creator's hiatus. He popped the question to our audience on doing a Royal Rumble match. Now, whilst his original plans for that have been thrown out of the window for now, that doesn't mean we still can't do one. Or in this case, three.
Three?
We've all got ourselves downloaded in the game as custom characters from the community creations. I say we have a go each in a Royal Rumble match. The person who lasts the longest in said match will become the proud owner of a luscious apple pie slice. Survival of the fittest here, boys.
That statement is kind of ironic considering what we've just finished eating and what we're competing for in the first place.
But it's still a good idea regardless. But we need to ensure that it's not only fair for the three of us, but that it's also not a cakewalk either. I propose that we all play our matches on Legends difficult.
Legends? Seriously?
You don't sound too confident there, Donald.
Silence, you old fart. This is simply a bump in the road that I will decimate with my car. I will last longer than the both of you can and rightfully earn the right to feast upon God's favorite dessert.
First of all, that will probably earn you some time in jail, which I guess you're pretty used to by now. Second of all, God's favorite dessert?
Well, yeah, Adam and Eve and the apple.
Barack, he's referencing the Bible and it's scaring me.
Then let's move on from that and get started with this Royal Rumble clash, gentlemen.
All right, boys, watch closely. This is how a true wrestling game pro plays a Royal Rumble.
Is that so? I didn't know that involved getting beat down by one of the most oralist characters in the company right now.
Barack, you don't like Karrion Kross?
Joe, please don't tell me you're a fan.
All I'm saying is the guy has potential. I honestly believe he could become a big star.
Big star at putting people to sleep? You can literally hear a pin drop every time he makes his entrance.
So as Donald continues to get his ass beat,
Screw
anyone
you.
want to talk about Ricochet?
Didn't he recently make his debut for AEW?
Why did you ask that instead of stating
I
it?
just had to double check is all.
And that's my point. It should have been a bigger deal than what it was. Instead, though, he was thrown into a gauntlet match where he ended up getting eliminated. I feel like if he had made a bigger impact on his debut, we wouldn't be questioning what he's doing. Rather, we'd be stating the potential his AEW run has.
Excellent teamwork there, you bald-headed goat. But listen, Barack, I truly do believe the potential is there. They instantly planted the seeds for the match we all want this past week between Ricochet and Ospreay. If booked right, I can see him becoming a big-time player for the brand.
What happened to you hating AEW? Isn't that the whole reason you and George fell out last year?
I never said I hated it. I just said WWE was better. But look, I think the company has a lot of good things going for it at the moment. If they can stay the course and continue to focus on their own work rather than another company's, then I think they'll be fine. And Ricochet can hopefully thrive. Oh, look, guys, it's the deadbeat dad.
Ain't no way you're hating on the legend that is Rey Mysterio.
Especially when you're not exactly a candidate for Best Father of the Year yourself.
Dan, you're on my back today, Barry. But we all know Dominic is right about him.
Damn, this still hurts.
It's been a full year now, hasn't it?
An entire year? I can't believe it.
Let's look on the bright side, guys. We've still got Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six adding to his legacy.
I do believe Hunter could be doing more with the group, But overall, I'd say Bo and the rest are doing a great job. Would you look at that, though, boys? Already 8 entries in.
Yeah, that's great and all, Donald, but you've still got a long way to go. Don't be boasting your ego quite yet.
Are you kidding? Donald, I implore you to do it. I've got a damn slice of apple pie on the line here.
Joe, if anyone is coming last in this challenge, it is without question you and your sleepy ass.
Pie? Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Karmic justice right there.
And I'm absolutely loving
I
it.
dare you to keep talking, you stupid old bitch.
All right then, Joe, I guess it's up to us instead to show the audience how a Royal Rumble is played.
Mine was rigged.
How in God's name can you possibly say that, when in reality it was just a big fat skill issue?
Oh, good one, Barry. Because Donald is a fat orange.
I'm about to make this argument political, Joe. Don't you dare force the audience to endure that.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, how about we talk about what our favorite wrestling game is when it comes to playing a Royal Rumble?
That's a good topic to help me forget about the screw job I just went through. It would have to be WWE 12 for me. The fast-paced gameplay we had between the end of the SmackDown vs. Raw series and the beginning of the era of 2K bastardizing the franchise helped enhance the mode further for me.
Well, I think ours would have to be SmackDown versus Raw 2011, right, Barry?
Definitely. We would play Royal Rumbles on that game for hours on end back in the day. Me and Joe used to always argue on who got to play as Rey Mysterio, before the person playing would try and win the entire thing whilst playing as the masked luchador.
That's an amazing game in general, especially since we got to see that deadbeat dad go full heel in the road to WrestleMania mode.
Once again, Trump. You siding with Dominic shows why you're not a Father of the Year candidate.
Like you're any better, Joe.
Oh God, Donald. Did you seriously buy the Pat McAfee DLC?
Just to play as the man himself. Everyone else in that pack is nothing but a waste of space to me. We could have been playing as Jade Cargill a month earlier, but nope. Bringing in people who have nothing to do with wrestling. That has to be the #1 priority, according to 2K.
Personally, I'm more excited to see Kairi Sane back in the game. I'm definitely reforming the Kabuki Warriors in my universe mode.
Is that why we barely see you anymore? Because you're playing wrestling games?
Joe, I've already told you, you still need to run the country until the end of the year.
Hey, good stuff, Barry, that's one down.
Just don't get cocky and blah, 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 blah.
You're sitting there making fun of me, even though you boasting your ego is what cost you in the first place? That was literally 5 minutes ago, by the way. You know what? Screw you, Donald. I've now officially done better than you did in this challenge.
Thanks for reminding me that I won't be getting that slice of apple pie.
Do you think you're me? Do you want to be me? Do you want to be the tribal chief?
I guess Jimmy didn't fall in line.
What do you guys think of the new bloodline?
Solo puts me to sleep quicker than what any tub of chocolate ice cream would.
He just hasn't got that dog in him. He doesn't make a convincing leader. Now, Jacob Fatu, on the other hand, oh yeah, that's a guy with potential.
I generally fear no one, but Jacob Fatu is a very intimidating man.
That first part was a lie, Trump. You're definitely scared of all fitness trainers.
Just like you're scared of being moved into a coffin any day now. Barry, I'm sorry, but we need to talk about your moveset.
And what exactly is the problem with it?
What exactly is the problem with it, he says? You've literally just copied The Rock's moveset and called it a day.
Oh, come on, Trump. Joe literally did the same thing with his moveset by copying Steve Austin's.
Oh wow, real life heel turn. My best friend throwing me under the bus.
If this is a heel turn, then it's the equivalent of Tucker turning his back on Otis, because that's not even correct, Barack. Joe only has Steve Austin's finishers. The rest is all original.
I mean, hell, if we're really getting into it. It's not even Austin's stunner I've got as my finisher. I intentionally made my finisher the world's worst stunner, because I'm pretty sure that's how I'd land it if I was a wrestler.
Hell, you know what, Joe? I honestly really rate your moveset as you made yours in regards to what your frail body could probably perform. I think the added realism to it is really cool.
Thank you, Donald. That's exactly what my intention was with it. I mean, could you really imagine me performing a Phoenix Splash like I'm Seth Rollins?
I just can't believe you guys are coming after me over something as small and stupid as a moveset in a video game.
All I'm saying is you could have been a little more original. That's all.
Okay, Andre has to go, otherwise the end of my challenge will definitely be around the corner.
I agree with that. Plus, to be honest, I'd rather you get the apple pie instead of Joe.
Oh, what the hell, Trump? We were literally on the same page a minute ago.
I haven't forgotten the fat jokes, you walking corpse.
Get out of here!
Jesus Andre is actually taking care of everyone in this.
All right, enough is enough. I'm taking care of the giant right here and now.
Barry?
It's a work in progress, Donald. How have we ended up going against Wyatt again?
It would be pretty poetic if he was to eliminate you just like he did to me.
No need to jinx that into existence.
Barack, get out of there, man.
Well, crap. Barry, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to jinx it.
Nah, don't worry. It's actually kind of funny how we both fell to Bray.
I like to think of it as a tribute to the man, too.
And hey, I still got pretty far in the Rumble as well. That's going to be a tough one for you to beat Joe. But if you somehow manage to get to entry number 18 in your match, then you'll be the winner of our apple pie prize.
A lot on the line then. But as president, it's my job to overcome odds like this. So let's do this.
All right, Joe, good luck.
You don't exactly sound fussed about potentially losing
We're
this.
fighting over a slice of apple pie, not the damn presidency. It really isn't as big of a deal as you guys say it is.
That's exactly what someone who hasn't had the pleasure of some apple pie goodness going down his throat would say.
Guys, enough. I'm sick and tired of hearing you both be so down bad over this.
Oh, look who it is. It's the deadbeat dad, blah, 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 blah,
You
blah,
don't know if
blah.
I was going to say that again, you old fart. Stop making fun of me.
You know, since Randy's coming out here, I never expected him, of all people, to be a fan of Nutella.
Nutella?
Yeah, he's mentioned how he had like a full jar of Nutella before his King of the Ring match with Gunther.
Why on earth would he do something like that?
Beats me. I notice he's been bulking himself up this year.
Well, snakes have hard skin, right? Maybe he's just trying to harden himself up.
It's actually the scales of snakes that are hard, not the actual skin itself.
Oh my God, Barack, I can guarantee you right here and now that there isn't a single presidential universe out there where I care about your nerd facts. Game Producer 6? Nope. Uvox? Nope. Broadway 1997? Nope. Presidential Central?
Shut the hell up, you annoying fat orange. I'm trying to play the game here.
Apologies, Joe. I was under the assumption that you had lost your hearing in your old age.
That's enough, Trump.
He started it by making a fat joke for the 20th time today.
There's absolutely no way.
Oh, hell yeah, me get him out of there.
Joe, I am telling you right now, you cannot let a computer-controlled Donald eliminate you.
It's not going to happen, Barack.
It's not going to happen, he says. How about we see if you've still got your balls or not? Or if they've turned to dust in your old age.
And you wonder why I keep up with the fat jokes. What, you thinking, you fat orange?
If I'm still in the match by the time you get eliminated, that apple pie will be mine. What do you say, Joe? You ready to step up?
What if I haven't beaten Barack's finish of entry 17?
I think I made it pretty clear earlier that I don't really care about the apple pie. I just wanted to play some wrestling. So, yeah, the pie will be decided between you two.
You've already beaten my incredibly rigged entry 7 finish, but this is me coming back to make things right. Come on, Joe, you gotta accept this. Let me finish the story.
I'm actually sick of that phrase being said, but screw it. I'll dump your computer-controlled fat ass
Careful,
out
Joe,
of the
that
ring
was a
just
close
like it
one.
was tossed out earlier on.
No messing with Joe's controller, Donald. I'll have my eyes fixed on you to make sure you don't tamper with his gameplay.
Fine, fine, you got it, Barack. It's in the computer's hands now, all I can do is pray.
Bye.
That was cold as hell from me. Head to the retirement home, AJ.
I'll send your ass packing there instead if you don't put some respect on AJ's name.
Damn it, that was a finisher he just reversed. He would have been out of here if I had hit that.
My computer-controlled counterpart understands the assignment. That apple pie is coming home with me. And by home, I mean my stomach, because we are already at one of my houses, so yeah.
Damn it, just get the hell out of here already.
It's pie or death, Joe.
Oh my God, we could literally just order some apple pie slices to be Ubered here. Maybe McDonald's has been restocked with them by now.
I'm not taking any chances, Barry.
Yeah, same here.
What the hell just happened to me?
Damn, I wasn't familiar with Tyler Breeze's game.
Come here, Donald.
Wait, hang on, please. Not in front of my best friend, Hogan. Feeling the warm taste of a classic apple pie slice go down my throat has definitely helped alleviate my anger.
I swear you're saying it like that on purpose.
Hey,
now.
Barack, check out our resident sleeper next to me.
I guess that Royal Rumble challenge combined with the apple pie was too much for my old VP to handle.
You know, from looking at him now, I'm honestly glad he dropped out of the election because of his health alone. It's a shame we couldn't run it back like it's 2020 all over again. But he's still one of my best friends. And despite everything we've said and been through, I'd never want anything bad to actually happen to him.
Just to clarify, you're only saying this because he can't hear you, correct?
Yeah, if you tell him any of this, I'm gonna RKO your ass.
As if you could ever jump that high. Say Donald. Have you ever wondered what Joe dreams about?
That's an odd question, Barry.
But a good one regardless, right? Considering how much he sleeps these days. Aren't you just the least bit curious?
I guess I've just been more focused on making fun of his sleeping antics. That I never really stopped to question them in the first place. Who knows for sure what could be going on in that sleepy mind of his?
You want to run some war games?
Nah, that sounds like a November idea, that. I think I've got something cooking in my mind, actually. We got a story to finish, Barack.
Bet, Donnie, I get what you're doing now. The one-on-one match the people didn't get to see from us before.
It may not be the same as fighting it out for real like originally intended, but I'm honestly glad we ain't wrestling each other anymore. End of the day, I'm in my late 70s. Even someone as amazing as me is going to suffer from injuries and damage caused through a bit of classic sports entertainment.
Try getting rock bottomed 3 times by The Rock on top of an ambulance. Then you can come and talk to me about wrestling injuries. It's been months now, and my back is still reeling from that match with the Great One.
I guess you could say it's time to put your back down once and for all then. Let's do a casket match.
Why a casket match?
For one, we never got to see a casket match in the universe mode. And 2, Joe and Boris were meant to face off in one of these, so we might as well give the people a taste of what they were going to see.
Let's make sure to put the $1 million title on the line then, since that's what we were going to be fighting for.
Man, I was kind of hoping I'd just be able to keep that on myself for the rest of the game's lifespan.
Donald, we're playing on your console. Don't act like you're not just going to put the title back on yourself when me and Joe leave later. Also, I have to ask, why do you of all people still only have a PS4? The console literally sounds like a damn plane engine because it's running a game that is way too advanced for its hardware to handle.
I've got like 3 PS5s buried, but they're all in other locations that I own. I'm actually surprised that the plane engine noise hasn't woken Joe up yet, though.
Really?
Of course, I'm not the guy who could literally have slept through the ending of WrestleMania 40, aka the most hyped 15 minutes of the entire year. And I'm talking about him sitting in the front row at the event itself. All right, Barack, I went ahead and added a couple more surprises to the match.
Oh, goddammit.
Was having finishers at the start of the match one of those surprises?
Was, of course it was. This was not how this match was supposed to start.
Was it supposed to start with you hitting the finishers on me instead?
Captain Obvious must be here or something.
Shut your damn mouth, you fat orange, and lick this elbow from the people, you stupid-ass jabroni!
That was horrifying, Barry.
You think I got Dwayne's accent on point?
It is that good that I'm begging you to not do that again. That voice brings back horrible memories.
Good thing we brought Joe's bed to ringside so you can go take a nap in it and recover from your trauma.
What? You're trying to end this match already?
Of course I am. The $1 million title is on the line after all.
Well, screw you, Obama. I'm not Sleepy Joe. I will not succumb to the comfort of the coffin.
What was your other surprise then? You might as well tell me since we're not portraying a squash match, I guess.
Yeah, you're damn right we're not. I was just going to say I also changed up the weapon wheel. So we've got a fun selection to choose from.
Your turn, bitch.
Crap! Really, Donald?
Well, yeah, the $1 million title is on the
What
line.
happened to trying out the weapon wheel?
Yeah, I don't remember asking. Just pretend I'm the Yemen president finally getting my sweet revenge on you.
I'd rather you get another 4 years in office.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that, actually. I thought we were best friends. How are you going to go behind my back like that and support the enemy?
Isn't it obvious? If Kamala becomes president, that means you'll have plenty more time for hanging out with me and Joe.
Wait, are you serious? Wow, Barack, I owe you an apology. I wasn't familiar with your game.
Just joking, Donald. I'm backing her because Michelle really wants a female president.
Ah, there we go. There's the obvious answer I was waiting for. Just for that, I'm sticking your ass in the trash.
Just bring it, Trump. I dare you.
You slippery bastard.
Don't cry about it, Trump. Just like you did when you thought you weren't getting a slice of apple pie.
The events of 30 minutes ago were traumatizing to me, Barack. How dare you use that against me?
Well, there's a taste of coffin to help with your appetite.
Disgusting, Barack. Now you're really starting to anger me.
Eyes on the game. Why you to be mad? Hey, Donald, remember when you talked about throwing out the trash?
Bastard.
Let me introduce your stupid face to some post.
That would probably be an instant concussion in real
Yeah,
life.
yeah, of course, but the multiple headshots to the trash can and being thrown into a damn coffin lid causes absolutely no lasting side effects.
Okay, but I honestly feel like that wasteland you just hit on me onto the announce table lid wouldn't hurt too bad. At least compared to multiple rock bottoms on top of an ambulance.
Oh my God, cry about it, Obama. I'm sick of you referencing your trauma like that.
Yes, correct. That right there is what we call trauma. Not some stupid damn apple pie slice.
Shut your damn mouth.
Nah, screw you, man. I'll give you a damn piece of my trauma.
Barack, it's a damn game. I didn't feel any of that.
The Bar Act does not give a damn, you nasty suntan jabroni!
What the hell, Obama? You trying to pull off a damn Jamaican accent now?
Oh, that wasn't me. I guess Dwayne regained his final boss powers or something and is able to communicate with us from outside our plane of existence.
That probably means the man is on his way back to WWE. We'll have to see if he makes an appearance at Bad Blood or not.
You excited for the show?
Oh, absolutely. Punk and Drew are literally going to go to war inside Hell in a Cell. And you know what? I'm expecting Priest versus Balor to be a surprising classic. What the hell are you doing, by the way?
I don't know what just happened. I was trying to grab a weapon, and the game just wasn't responding for whatever reason.
The hell are we supposed to do with this? We're able to kick this right?
I think so. I'm not quite sure what the button command for it would be.
Oh, fantastic, Barack. Instead of letting me figure it out, you instead continue this whole trauma brigade and spine bust me on the floor.
I'm just trying to give you the mental image of my pain. At the very least, I can make you cringe.
Jesus Christ, trauma this, trauma that. Go lock yourself in a room and listen to some heavy metal already. And again, What the hell are you
Just
doing?
told you I don't know the damn command for kicking the ball, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Don't care, didn't ask.
You just damn well did.
Nope, cope harder. Check this out, Obama.
Oh yeah, I thought it was both hilarious and awesome that 2K made Carlito's apple a weapon.
The apple's got a special attack too, like the football.
We spit in the face of people who aren't cool.
Yes, so have it. Oh, come on, why is it not working?
Clearly, it's just because I'm too cool.
Oh, hell no. You are without question the most boring person I've ever met in my life.
Well, this boring mofo just rock-bottomed your ass harder than Dwayne did to Cena at WrestleMania 28.
Joe is more cooler than you, and he's asleep half the time we're with him.
What was that you just said? You want to go to sleep? I've got a perfectly good bed open and ready for you.
Crap, 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 right, crap, mash, 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 mash the damn button. I'm not losing this.
You gotta be kidding me, ain't no way you've just stalemated that.
Sounds like you're finding it hard to cope from a big fat skill issue, Barry. I'm not decrepit enough to be put in a coffin. I'm not Joe Dammit. Now it's comeback time.
Well, no, I had this match won.
I hope the likes of The Rock and Triple H are mad jealous at that amazing spine buster I just pulled off.
The exact same spine buster that every other player who performs the comeback lands.
But it's me, Barry. So that makes the move look even
What
better.
are you talking about? That makes no damn sense.
Oh, hell yeah, this is all over. Another big win for the Trump.
Oh, hell no.
No! What the hell was that reversal? Barack, come on. That's not
Arctic's
fair.
issues. I don't remember asking. Rest in peace, you orange bitch.
No is no. No open.
What the hell, Trump? What are you doing?
Wait, Joe, is that you?
Your stupid ass losing sounds woke me up. Like, are you serious right now?
Barack, why didn't you stop me from going crazy like that?
What are you kidding? I thought you'd been taken over by a devil or something and got frozen scared.
What the hell were you two even doing that justified Donald getting possessed like that in the first place?
Basically, I did a Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman Great Balls of Fire moment to win a casket match against Donald on 2K24.
Rigged. Why does everything have to be so damn rigged these days?
Anyway, Joe, I hope you still had a good nap, despite Donald going through an existential crisis.
Besides being scarred for life mentally by what I just heard, yeah, it was a pretty good nap.
Guys, the creator has told us to put our wrestling antics and tiresome wait for shadow generations on hold to do this tier
A
list.
Smash Bros. Character tier list, and one of Brawl no less. What's the creator's reason for making us do this?
Simply put, he hopes ranking these characters in a casual manner will trigger Game Producer 6 and Broadway, two fellow presidential AI creators who basically tore him apart mentally for his Brawl skills.
Damn, our creator sure is one petty idiot. But I can respect the effort to want to go above and beyond the call of duty over a stupid topic like this.
Well then, let's waste no time and get on with this. Starting with the King of the Koopas.
He got absolutely bullied week in and week out on Melee, but with some much needed nerfs to certain characters, it gives Bowser more of a chance to make a name for himself here in Brawl. An underdog story. It's just like my rise to presidency in a nutshell.
God, I'm so glad I don't have to put up with the politics side of you anymore.
That hurts to hear, Joe. I miss going up against you for the keys to the White House.
In his own way, Donald has a point, though. Bowser no longer feels like a complete burden to play with anymore, but there's no question that the guy can still be severely outclassed in Brawl. It's nowhere as bad as Melee, though. Combined with the power he brings to his matches, I think he deserves a B tier. A solid start to the list.
If someone like Bowser is going in B tier, then surely the captain is going into one of the higher ones, right?
Oh, of course. But I don't think he's S tier. Sure, he's incredibly fast, as well as incredibly powerful. I mean, the Falcon Punch speaks for itself. But even with all of that, I'd still argue there's something missing here that stops him from getting into S.
I hate him because he reminds me of Ganondorf. And nothing should ever remind you of him when it comes to this game.
If the old man of our group doesn't even like the old man of this game, then clearly there's no hope for the guy.
We're digressing a bit. I'd say the Falcon barely misses out on the S tier, but we'll give the man a solid A. Next up is Charizard. I guess we're ranking Pokemon trainers partners individually on this list.
Makes sense to do that and give each of the three Pokemon their own spotlight.
If Charizard wants a spotlight, he's going to have to make it with his own flames because this lizard is hot garbage in this game.
Charizard is a dragon.
Shut up, Joe. We're not opening up that can of Wug Trios.
This was pre-Flare Blitz Charizard in Smash. The lizard is missing that key deadly impact move, which gave the developers the confidence to make it a solo act in Smash 4 in the first place. Without that big red button, though, Charizard is severely underpowered compared to the hard hitters of this game.
Well said, Trump. But I don't think Charizard is unplayable in Brawl. So let's stick the lizard in C tier.
Diddy Kong? Trash?
Come on, Trump Diddy is the coolest character in the game.
Joe, please, for the love of God, never say that again.
What do you mean?
Yes, don't. You seriously need to go look at the news or something.
Come on, though, Barack. Please tell me I'm onto something.
Right? Yeah, sorry, Donald. But no, I can't agree with you wanting to put the little Kong in D. He's got some pretty nimble maneuverability, as well as a really cool recovery with his jetpack. I'll give you a C tier, but nothing less. Can we agree on that?
I guess that works. I mean, it's not like he's the worst character in the game, I guess.
Now remember those downgrades we were talking about during Bowser's segment? Well, here's patient zero of that.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
What the hell is wrong with him?
Donald's the melee man of the group, so he took Falco's nerf personally.
When I get reelected, I swear I'm going to make Brawl Falco great again.
It's really not that deep. It's not like Falco is unplayable or anything. He can still be a good choice to play
Yeah,
as.
but compared to Melee, he's a shell of his former self. That speed nerf practically kills his playset.
Where would you rank him then?
I don't care. My heart hurts too much.
That might be the apple pie from earlier.
Screw you.
Let's just stick Falco in B and move on.
Now, Fox, for the most part, retains the title as one of the elite of the roster. He may not be the main man on campus, but I'm still happy enough with his Brawl showing.
You're only saying it's just good enough because you no longer have those stupid game-breaking glitches from Melee to enhance Fox's usefulness.
Stop calling them glitches.
You and Game Producer 6 can say whatever you want. You know damn well that that's what they are.
You could never understand Obama. Now go ahead and put Fox in S tier.
Fine, for the time being, I'll put him in there, but I guarantee this will probably change later. Gannon, get your ass in D.
Enough said.
Let's push forward.
Can we stick the ice climbers in there too? They annoy me nearly as much as Kamala has been doing all year.
Absolutely not. This is like bringing a friend with you to take on the other fighters together as one unit. I love the concept. And it broke my heart when they got booted out of the roster in Smash 4.
All right, fine, for the tag team concept alone, I'll stick the duo in C. What do you guys think about Ike?
I think Shai Kong's version of myself showcased the downfall of Ike in a nutshell when he tried to use him in that 1 to 5 Ultimate video. That being said, Ike was more of a man than even William Regal back in the Brawl days. His power was practically unmatched.
As well as being able to deliver a vicious counter blow too, if the player was good enough to use it at the right time. Barry, stick the man in A.
Now, as for Ivysaur, this is a difficult one. In my opinion, the giant cabbage is the worst out of Pokemon Trainers' partners. But is this a D-tier worthy fighter?
This is definitely the worst we've seen of the Soar in the Smash games. But I can't say it deserves the D tier. Unlike Ganon, I've actually been able to clutch some wins using this dinosaur-looking plant.
The political side of me respects the fact you've been able to clutch some wins with the lettuce dish, so I'm fine to put it in C. Plus, doing this is another necessary shot to Ganondorf.
And to C it goes. Carrying on with the Pokemon trend, we have Jigglypuff.
Never underestimate this thing. Jigglypuff's ability to sleep even harder than Joe over here can lead to a death sentence if you stand too close.
I definitely argue to put the balloon in a high tier because of its ability to match my sleepy levels alone. However, I know there's still a lot of flaws with it.
It's definitely more of a joke pick. But it's a joke pick with teeth. Never let your guard down against this thing. For now, let's put it at C and move on to the fat, useless king that we have next on the list.
He's a powerhouse for sure. But not only does it take 30 minutes for him to get to you, but an extra 15 just to pull one move off. He may have saved the day in subspace before that blue hedgehog came and took all the credit. But sadly, he's a bit of a punching bag. Basically what Bowser was in Melee.
It's also a shame that he reminds me so much of you, Trump.
Yep, generic fat joke. At least I'm not an old corpse.
Let's just stick him in C because of his great recovery. Now, as for Kirby, I'd argue that he's one of the most reliable fighters you could pick in this game.
Game-breaking recovery, powerful knockback with his mallet, and being able to steal other fighters' abilities is more broken than Joe stealing the election from me.
Did you guys hear something? Anyways, his final smash takes a few points off his chart, in my opinion.
We're not counting final smashes into this since we could easily just make another video on those if the viewers wanted it. But I'm going to argue that Kirby should go into A, just because it's hard to match against the #1 guy in the game. As for Link, I'm going to argue he goes into B, but with a case to get into A, he's good, but I just don't think he's on the same level as the characters we already have in there.
Fair enough.
What about Lucario?
Mid.
I'm not having that trump. Lucario's aura system is pretty cool. The more damage he takes, the more powerful he becomes. His aura spheres become bigger and his hits become 10 times harder. Overall, when used correctly, this Pokemon can be an absolute weapon.
Oh yeah, you know all about weapons. Listen, the aura system is all well and good, but by the time he actually becomes a threat, my opponent has already kicked me off the stage.
It has to be the biggest skill issue I've ever heard. I'm putting Lucario in B. Deal with it. Thoughts on Lucas?
Mid. I never really used
That's
him.
only because he ran away from you in the adventure mode.
Ain't no way you just compared him to Mr. Porky.
Joe, what the hell?
Both Lucas and Ness are pretty decent characters in my opinion. They can constantly tank the damage onto you with their PK fires, and overall they've got some very nice knockbacks. Sure, their recovery does hurt them, but everyone needs to have a big weakness, I guess. I'd like to say they both deserve a B tier.
I can get behind that. Now, Luigi is an interesting one. I honestly do think he's better than his brother.
I don't know about that. I could never figure out how to properly play as
A
him.
very understandable skill issue. Luigi may take a bit more time to master, but I'd say it's well worth learning, because he honestly feels like a cheat code sometimes.
That lucky super jump attack being the prime example. It honestly felt like I was toying with the opponent whenever I played as him. 9 times out of 10, I'd find a way to get the victory with the green plumber. And for that, I think he deserves a spot in A.
What about Mario?
He's probably the most well-rounded character in the game. Nothing bad, but at the same time, nothing particularly great.
But still a fun character to use regardless. I think a high B tier will suffice for Mr. Nintendo.
Stick Marth in B2. There's nothing really special about him. But he makes up for it by being able to execute damage pretty quickly. Not to mention he can counter you with a vicious rebound, just like I can.
And with that said, gentlemen,
But guys, Meta Knight has no knockback.
Shut up, Broadway!
sorry, Joe. To make up for that, I'll stick game and watch and see.
What the hell do you mean C? He's at the very least a B.
Nah, screw that, Joe. He's a joke character at best. Yes, you should never underestimate him. But I'd never pick him in a serious match.
I'm just going to stick Ness in B as we agreed. But I'm putting Olimar into D with game.
Oh, what the hell, Barry, that just screams massive skill.
Listen, Joe, I agree that Barack's Olimar Brawl skills are just as bad as his topping skills when it comes to Michelle.
Damn it, Trump!
But the guy is generally outclassed by the majority of the roster. Even old man Gannon would have an easy time against him.
You're all just haters. Whatever, I can't be asked to argue about this with the two of you. Can we at least say that Peach is worth having a go with?
I hope you mean in the game, Joe.
Peach has always been a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one when it comes to Smash Bros, and Brawl is no exception. Her side smash is always useful for inflicting some decent damage and knockback, and overall I feel like you can be pretty unpredictable with her. Will a B suffice, Joe?
That's perfect. Glad to know we're on the same page again.
Now we're on to the Pokemon mascot. His Skull Bash and Thunder moves can leave quite the mark on an opponent. But Pikachu has never been my first choice when picking a character.
I look at the fighters we have in the high tiers, and I just can't think of a reason why Pikachu would be on the same level as a Fox or a Captain Falcon.
Let's stick the cute mouse next to his fellow veterans Mario and Link in high B tier then.
Pit can go in low B. Brawl was a pretty decent first appearance for him, having one of the best recoveries in the game, so you basically have no choice but to kick his ass off the screen rather than letting gravity do its work.
I'd say damage-wise is where Pit can falter compared to the hard hitters of the game. So yeah, I'd say B is a good placement for him.
Rob goes in A.
Joe, take your pills.
Are you crazy, Donald? Rob is goated?
You guys can't be serious.
But we absolutely are. From his deadly laser, his overpowered spinning attack, his amazing recovery, and it always seems like somehow, someway, this legendary robot has a counter for any move dished out on him, at least during the times I've faced one of these.
I can't see the vision. It reminds me of the old PC the White House had before I took over, but I can see I'm outvoted here. So you guys do what you gotta do, but put Samus in B. I think she's got enough tools in her arsenal to avoid anything lower. But in my opinion, she was starting to get a bit outclassed around this time.
I'm gonna put Sheik alongside Rob if that's cool. Her speed can make her hard to counter. Plus, those needle storms can be used for quick rising damage in preparation for hitting the final blow.
I don't care enough about her to argue about this.
Oh boy, it's the man who opened the floodgates.
Oh, hell no, I would never open up the border.
Trump, you idiot. He means this was the opening for third-party characters to make their way into Smash. It certainly was a weird first pick, though.
Ah, I see. So I take it we'll be putting Snake with Meta Knight, then Barry, due to his familiarity with explosives.
Screw off Trump, I was going to say B. He can dish out some good damage, but he doesn't have the best maneuverability. It's something that can potentially cost him during key parts of a match.
I'm fine with B2 Barry. Go ahead and stick him there.
Oh great, it's the Blue Rat.
Donald, why do you hate Sonic?
Because King DDD was the true saver of subspace. And that all gets forgotten just because Taboo got his wings clipped by a hedgehog. A hard-working king getting overshadowed like that. It's exactly how I felt when I lost the election.
Damn, there's that sound again, guys. Barry just put Sonic in A.
I was thinking the same thing. Sonic being the fastest character in the game makes it harder to counter against him. Hell, I might have argued to put him with Meta Knight if he didn't have 2 spin dashes in his moveset. An issue Nintendo still refuses to fix with Smash Sonic 16 years later.
Couldn't have happened to a more deserving creature.
On to Squirtle, and I think he's without question the best Pokemon out of the trainer's partners. Some nice movement with his shell spin. And honestly, he can pack a bit of a punch when it comes to his harder hits.
I use Squirtle the most out of the 3, so I can vouch for what Joe is saying. The turtle still isn't anything special, though, so stick him in B.
I'm just going to stick Toon Link with the regular version since they both play the same.
Looks like we've got Trump next.
Right, so basically what you're saying is that I am every fat person on the planet. Does that make you every skeleton that's buried underground?
Jesus guys enough I'm putting Wario in low B. Can we agree on that?
That's fine. His atomic ass saves him from going any lower down on the list.
Next up is Wolf. Now, I honestly love the guy being added to the game, but I do think he could have benefited from having a more original move set compared to Fox and Falco.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing, just with a coat of wolf paint. And I'd argue he's the worst out of the 3-star Fox fighters because of this.
I never really played him, so I'll just go with you guys on this.
We're nearly there now, boys. Time for Yoshi. In my opinion, he's always been a dependable little guy.
He's basically the pseudo-fighter. Think about it. He has a pseudo version of Kirby's Inhale, a pseudo version of the Bowser Bomb, as well as a pseudo version of the Spin Dash. I'm not saying we take points away from him for that, I just thought it was pretty cool.
Actually, I think you summed Yoshi up in a nutshell. He's pretty cool. The original silly guy who you know you're always going to have a fun time using in matches.
Very true. I think B tier is most appropriate for this awesome dinosaur. And as for Zelda and Zero Suit Samus, how would you guys feel about me putting them both in B to close this list off?
I'll give you Samus Barry, but you're going to have to make a convincing case for Zelda.
All right, fine. So my reasoning has actually been quite a recent revelation. I was facing her using Mario when I decided to go back and play Brawl the other week. And I must admit, she almost had a counter for everything I gave her.
Sorry, Barry, but this just sounds like a skill issue on your part.
Even crazier when you find out that Barry faces level 5 CPUs at the very most.
Shut the hell up with your fabrications, Donald. Anyway, I decided afterwards to give her a try in a couple of matches, and I ended up kicking some serious ass with her.
Okay. And in how many of these matches did you transform into shit?
Ban on Heart None. That was the rule I set for myself when I used her. That fireball of hers can be deadly. And she's much more nimble than what I gave her credit for. So now when I look at this list, I have to ask myself, can I really put her in the same tier as the likes of Charizard and Ivysaur, who I know in my heart are considerably worse?
I don't agree with you, Barry. So I would like to propose a deal with you here. I will allow you to put Zelda in very low B, but only if you create a proper S-tier category for Fox. Meta Knight can still have his own tier for all I care. But as a Mango fan, I can't in good conscience allow the leader of Star Fox to be underappreciated like that.
Now hold on, I want in on this. You can have that trump, but only if we put Sonic in this new tier too.
You said that with malicious intent. You know I don't like that blue rodent.
It's got nothing to do with you. Fox's best quality is his speed, right? Well, Sonic is the personification of that. As the fastest character in the game, it only seems fair that he too gets a higher spot.
Come on, Trump, just say yes. We all win in this case.
Oh, whatever, just do it. Guys, are we ready to upset some more competitive Smash players with another tier list?
Surely that's not the reason we're doing this again, right?
Nah, don't worry, Joe. We're only doing this since it was requested by one of our fine viewers in the last video. On the topic of that, we have seen other video ideas be requested quite recently. The creator just wanted to take this time to let you know he appreciates the suggestions. And if he thinks they're good enough for a video, he will most definitely schedule them into his future plans. But don't feel too down if we can't get to them straight away. It's nothing personal. It's either because he'll be trying to fit them into his schedule, or the video idea / the way you requested it was bad.
In that sense, if it's the second reason, then yes, it will in fact be personal. Now, can we get on with the stupid list? I want to get back to our Road to WrestleMania playthrough.
Cool your Air Force One jets, Donald. This time we'll be starting with Mr. Nintendo. I personally feel that this is a pretty mid-final smash considering what we have on the list.
Oh, come on, Barack. It's like a massive fire blast from the Pokemon games.
The move itself is cool, but it can be pretty ineffective if you're able to escape the vortex. Because of that, it tends to have a 50-50 chance of actually taking out the opponent, so it deserves to have points taken off for that.
It's a middle-of-the-road final smash, I'd say. Let's go ahead and stick it in B. Still a decent start to the list.
And then it all comes crashing down with a Kong.
Oh, come on, Trump. You could use a different tune for your speeches. Imagine DK here dropping a beat with those bongos of his.
Now, don't get me wrong, Joe. I'm sure DK's music would be massive for raising my poll numbers. But in terms of a final smash, this just ate it, Chief. All you got to do is get away from the radius of the beat, and you'll be golden.
It's not always that simple. If it's on Battlefield, for example, then you might very well be cooked if DK can start it up in the middle of the stage.
Yeah, but what about the bigger stages in the game? Overall, the negatives just outweigh the positives for me. Stick it in C, Barry.
Fine, Donald. Next up, we've got Link's Triforce. I personally think this is a very good final smash. When caught by it, you're pretty much saying goodbye to your style.
Not just that, Barry. It can also cause damage and even knockouts for players who stand too close to the move as it's happening. Combine that with the fact that it's very hard to dodge this to begin with. I'd say we've got a very strong final smash here.
I think that just about covers it. Stick it in the A tier, Barry, which I will admit is probably where we should have put Link himself in the fighters tier list.
I'm a fire in my laser!
Guys?
Just no Donald. There was no need for
Put
that.
this one in S tier for the fact that it gives us Zero Suit Samus in all her
What the
glory.
hell, Joe? You're a married man.
Now hold on, Barack. Joe here is
Donald,
cooking.
don't encourage
It's
this.
going in S tier, and that's final. And I'm making the executive decision to put Kirby's in D. Don't get me wrong, I love food as much as the next guy, but Kirby's intention is to literally burn his food every time. And I can't allow that.
That is the stupidest reason to put something into a low tier I have ever heard, but honestly, I just don't care about this final smash, so I'll let you have
Oh,
it.
hell yeah, it's Landmaster time. I remember having a Landmaster toy when I was a child. I played with it all the time, pretending I was a member of the legendary Star Fox team. Guys?
You idiot, Joe, you were already a middle-aged man when Star Fox became a
We're
thing.
moving on from this. I think the Landmaster is a very fun final smash, whether you're using its massive cannon or knocking your opponents out by flying them out of bounds. I think it's great.
It's a fun time, sure. But you're kind of screwed if you're playing on a stage like Temple, for example. Everyone's just going to go to the lower levels knowing the Landmaster can't follow you because of its massive size. At that point, it becomes a waste of a final smash.
So it's a little too big to fit in smaller areas. So what? It's the goddamn Landmaster. Surely the cool factor should keep it at a high tier, right?
You know what, Joe? I'll let you have this. I'll put the Landmaster in A, but only because of how badass Wolf's version of it looks.
Speaking of badass, how about Pikachu's Volt Tackle?
I absolutely love this final smash. You may be able to go super with Sonic in this game, but this, in my opinion, is the closest you'll ever get to being a Super Saiyan in Smash Bros.
Not to mention it looks just as badass as it is powerful. Boys, I think we can agree to put this in S tier and move on.
Yep, we'll do. I'm going to stick Mars in A. It's nothing flashy, but you're more or less guaranteed to get a knockout with this every time. It can't go any lower than A because of that.
Okay, so Game & Watches. A definite mean final smash. I won't lie though, I've probably used this final smash the least out of all the ones in Brawl.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about this one. I'm just going to stick it in C. I'm sure that'll upset someone. And you know what? I'm going to continue that trend by sticking Luigi's in B.
Nice going, Barack. Game Producer 6 is about to go Super Saiyan on the creator's ass for
Hear
this.
me out here, Trump. This is something that I've only really shared with Michelle. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but I honestly believe that this final smash has played a part in Joe becoming as sleepy as he is.
Hang on, what the hell are you talking
It was
about?
back in 2010. Me and Joe were playing a game of Brawl, a classic Mario versus Luigi showdown. I got my hands on the final smash, and as soon as Luigi began his weird dancing, Joe's eyes were glued to the screen as if he was hypnotized. Ever since then, he would start sleeping twice as much as he used to do. And it's only gotten worse as the years have gone on.
That's insane. Joe, is this actually true?
Not gonna lie, boys, I don't even remember that happening. Hell, I don't even remember playing that match with you to begin
I
with.
believe that whatever occurred on that day caused your mind to seal whatever happened to you away so you'd never have to remember it. To sum it up, I'd argue Luigi's final smash is the most broken one in the game. But because of what it has potentially done to my best friend, I will only accept a B tier for it at the maximum.
This just got a whole lot heavier, didn't it?
Put Zelda's final smash in B2. It's pretty good, but who on God's green earth actually likes this one? The positives and negatives balance out here.
Fair enough, Meta Knights can go in there too. It can be pretty hard to land this. Sure, it'll probably lead to a knockout. But you do have to overcome a massive skill issue to perfect this one.
Broadway is going to be very happy with this placement, I'm sure.
And I'm going to put Pitts in A. It can be a bit difficult to avoid his reinforcements because of how fast they fly. If you're not careful, they're going to build up that residual damage to you quickly and send you flying.
Okay, but if we're putting Samus's final smash in S tier because it's a giant laser, then surely Pokemon Trainer's triple finish deserves top spot too, right?
No, you're wrong, Joe. It's got like a quarter of the width that Samus's super laser has.
They use the power of teamwork to create this. Nothing is more powerful than that.
I'm willing to put it in S for the sentiment alone.
You guys are idiots.
Relax, Donald, I'm joking, it's going in A. Ike's, however, will be going in S, and I will fight for my friends for this place.
No need to do that, Barack. The Great Aether is amazing to watch, and is pretty much a guaranteed knockout. Put it in S.
Snakes deserves an S tier too, Donald. I swear if you make some kind of a bomb joke here, I'm deleting the road to WrestleMania.
Oh, calm yourself, Hussein. But I agree this is another S tier. This final smash is the literal definition of carnage. Not to mention how much character it has with Snake basically retreating to a safe position to rain hellfire with his grenades.
Can we put Yoshi's in S too? The awesome dinosaur deserves
Not a
it.
damn chance. His fireballs may be powerful, but I can't for the life of me control his movement properly.
We'll put Yoshi's in A to compensate for Donnie's massive skill issue.
Screw off.
Also screw Peach's final smash. It's that bad that I was originally not even going to acknowledge it, but I figured that would be me.
Coward.
Whatever, you fat orange. Give me your damn opinion on Ganon's final smash already.
It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, not a chance Joe gets through the road to WrestleMania series without The Undertaker spooking him out. I think this is another S tier. It's straight to the point and can be very hard to dodge on one-platform stages. Ganon himself is the worst character in the game. But at the very least, he's got a good final smash.
All right then, next up is the Ice Climbers. I personally think this is a B-tier final smash. But Joe, since the Ice Climbers are your favorite fighters in the game, it only makes sense for you to get the final say here.
Thanks, Barry. I do think you're cooking with that opinion, though. If you can get away from the Ice Mountain's radius, then the move is practically pointless. But getting hit by it causes some major residual damage to your fighter, which can allow you to get knocked out pretty easily. Overall, a solid B tier in my books.
You do realize if you talked as well as that during your speeches, you might still have the faith of the country in your hands,
Oh,
right?
come on, Donald. Even you can't deny it gets nerve-wracking speaking in front of a massive crowd.
Perhaps, but if the nerves ever get to me like that, I'll just fire up the DD dance and everything will be fine after that.
Nah, kiss my ass, Game Producer 6. This is a terrible final smash.
How dare you!
I'm sorry, Donald, but the only way this final smash is knocking you out is if you suffer from massive skill issue
I
syndrome.
will not stand for this insanity.
You better stick it in at least C before Donald goes on a fat rampage, plus because of the fact that there's so much character shown with this one.
Whatever. I'm going to say we put Lucario's final smash in A.
Yeah, I love a good old laser beam final smash as much as the next guy. But if you've got an agile fighter, you can avoid this one pretty easily. That said, if you do get caught in the fire, then it's very deadly.
Ness and Lucas's can go in B tier. Again, if you're good at dodging, you're not going to have too many issues with these ones.
Unless the game makes you trip as if you're Joe going up the stairs.
Shut your fat mouth up. We're putting your least favorite character's final smash in S tier. Deal with it.
I never said Sonic was my least favorite. I just said I don't appreciate how he stole DDD's thunder in subspace. That said, this is indeed a goated final smash.
Absolutely. You could easily get a few knockouts in multi-man matches if you're skilled enough. It's so satisfying to send your opponents blasting away as if they're Team Rocket.
Now, Giga Bowser is a cult classic. But boys, even I, the melee man of the group, will admit here and now that the Giga Chad is pretty mid as a final smash.
Which does suck. He's pretty powerful, sure, but it's actually much easier to avoid his attacks than you might think. That said, I still think playing as the Chad himself is more fulfilling than that stupid one-punch man crap in Ultimate.
Where are we ranking the Giga Beta Sussy Baka
Joe,
Donald?
take your damn pills. And Barry, stick Giga Bowser in B tier.
Super Wario can go there with him. I think the gimmick is awesome, but it's really nothing special when you consider what we've got in the higher tiers.
I want to put Rob's in A. It may not be the most standout final smash, but it's sure as hell full of carnage.
Man basically gets corrupted with the same virus as Porygon Z. Those out-of-control lasers can pack one hell of a punch. And he remains as easy to control as he would be normally. A devastating yet underappreciated final smash.
Can we end this list off by putting both Falcon and Olimar's in A?
I don't see why not. Both moves are basically knockouts to the opponent if done right.
I don't know, guys. I think we need to put Olimar's in low D. He's top 3 on the competitive list after all, so he has to be a bad character.
I agree wholeheartedly on him being a bad character. It's everyone else who's wrong. But there's the list done, boys.
A complete waste of my time. Today, guys, we're going to ascend to the next level of wrestling.
What the hell does that mean?
We're going to be playing some SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. And we're going to be playing through the special Undertaker road to WrestleMania.
Ah, the Undertaker streak, I get it now.
Sounds like a fun time.
Not just that, though. I've got a surprise for the both of you.
Donald, what the hell is this?
Pretty cool, right? One of our awesome subs decided to make us in the
I'm
game.
talking about the damn TV you're using.
Oh, right. Well, you know how these older consoles work, Barack. This is on the PS2 after all. This ancient box from the early 2000s is all I've got to play PS2 games.
It's actually because the creator has an awful monitor and hasn't bought a new one
Joe,
yet.
shut up!
So anyway, our awesome fan Alpha Wicked went ahead and made us all in these older wrestling games on the PS2 with the request that we play through the old road to WrestleMania modes with him. So I figured we right the wrongs of the Undertaker's streak being broken and allow one of ourselves to be the 1 in 21 instead.
Well, actually, it would be 1 in 17 in this case.
Well, actually, I don't care.
So how are we going to decide who gets to play through the mode?
Well, actually, I was thinking Barry could be the one to play it.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I figured it could be a decent enough apology for the apple pie rage earlier.
Oh, wow. Well, thanks, Donald. I appreciate this.
I guess I'm fine with this. I'm still a little groggy from my nap anyway.
Wait a damn minute.
Oh my God. As if Alpha made actual finishers for us too.
Why the hell is mine called Drone Strikes?
Oh my God, the wall. These names are class.
Ice cream social? That's just put a smile on my face.
We have to go see what these finishers look like before doing anything. Yep, definitely looks like a drone
No,
strike.
it doesn't. What the hell am I looking at?
It's in the name, Barry. I'm building the wall. Ah, and that final move was Kamala breaking it down, which is why the country shouldn't elect her.
Oh, screw off Trump.
The hell? Ain't no way you're doing these moves in real life.
Have you not seen Stunning Cactus's version of me going nuts on a Mario 64 speed run for some ice cream? Never underestimate what I can do.
Okay, can we finally get started with Undertaker's road to WrestleMania?
Absolutely. Let's go and take that streak.
Wait a minute, what am I wearing now?
Looks like you're wearing one of Michelle's bathrobes as your entrance attire.
How the hell do you know that she has one like this?
Because you just confirmed it.
Chris Jericho, what brings you to Raw?
Barack, you sound like you've been taking a few unnecessary hits from your presidential pack.
Joe, you know damn well I don't smoke.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
win
what the voice actor
SmackDown's
sounds
tournament,
like.
and I wanted to see if anyone here on Raw would provide a challenge. So when you go out there tonight, know that the best in the world will be watching you closely.
In real time, the so-called
Don't crack
best
under
in
the
the world
pressure.
should have retired from wrestling at least 2 years ago.
If we're talking retirement, you both shouldn't have even gotten as far as the election in the first place.
Enough, guys. What's the context
In
here?
the game's story, Barry here has entered himself in a tournament involving both Raw and SmackDown. The winner will earn himself a match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania, where obviously his streak will be on the line.
Wow. So they're actually treating the streak with just as much importance as a title match then.
The streak basically had that much value in real life at the time. It just sucks that it was given to Brock Lesnar instead of someone that could have properly benefited from it.
The next two gladiators step up to see who takes on the devil himself.
Okay, that line went hard. You wouldn't expect that from a Vince-controlled Michael Cole.
I would so have Michael Cole commentate my speeches if it was possible.
You sure? Especially after the crazy events that have happened lately?
He almost took his head off with that lariat. Or in this case, with that sniper in the guy's hand.
Hilarious, Joe.
Wait, really?
Obviously not, you stupid old man.
Oh, hey, wait a minute.
Did you just use Randy's own move against him?
I guess for the most part, my character has Randy's 2011 moveset as my own. Which I'm not against, to be honest. Randy was always a fun wrestler to use in these older games, and even in the more modern ones, too. Wonder what I have for a signature.
A swinging neck breaker?
You don't think I could pull that off?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
I'll have you know, Donald, that me and Michelle have been doing some yoga together. My mind and body are now a weapon. I feel like I could do anything.
Jesus Christ, you yoga hippies are all the same.
Donald, don't be saying things like that. You're going to offend
I
somebody.
offend Kamala Harris every day just by being better than her. I think I'll be fine.
All right, then I guess we should see how my finisher looks like in an actual match.
Tactical nuke incoming!
You're not funny, Donald.
Actually, that was me, Barry.
Joe, what the hell?
I'm sorry, Barack. It was just too good to pass up.
Good job with beating Randy, though, Barack.
It's going to happen again, like clockwork. Another one will go down, will be lost. When will they learn? Do I help them? Do I pity them? Do I destroy them?
And people call me the crazy one? Kane here is literally speaking to himself.
Keep Kane in mind, Joe. He's going to become an important part of the story later on.
You won and I lost last week? Must have been a full moon or something.
Something around here is full of...
You don't
Must
have
be
to worry
Joe's
about
pants
me,
that the
all
Barack
right?
in the game can
I'm
smell.
What the hell are you talking about?
Look, Joe, all I'm
Never.
saying is that after we've got past the Royal Rumble in this mode, things are going to start getting a little weird. I just don't know if you'll be able to handle it or not.
You know what's weird, Trump? Going on about people eating cats and dogs when you're fighting for the damn presidency.
You know damn well it's an issue, Barry.
Damn, the game is sure as hell putting some tough opponents against you. First Randy Orton, and now Triple H.
I think it's great. It further elevates the fact that the streak is just as important as a title if the other big dogs of the company are wanting a shot at it.
And this game came out just before those two amazing Mania matches between The Undertaker and the game himself. What a time to be a wrestling fan. Do you guys think I could reinstate the streak if I become president again?
Just because Brock isn't being mentioned by the WWE currently doesn't mean the tribal chief is going to take kindly to you stripping him of his Mania win against The Undertaker.
Fair point, the future president acknowledges Roman Reigns.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Really, Joe, we're going to be doing this every time?
Actually, Barack, that time it was
Oh,
me.
come on, Donald, you got to be kidding me. Joe, knock it off.
I'm sorry, Barack. It's just too funny.
I'm so glad we're on the same wavelength with this Joe.
Whatever. So, in story terms, we've gotten ourselves into the final, right?
Correct, Barack. And the final is going to be in the next show. Hey, creator, let's just skip to the next match of the mode since nothing really happens between now and then.
Why in God's name is Kozlov of all people in the final?
ECW might be involved in this too, actually. That's the only reason I can think of since Jericho confirmed to us earlier that he's on SmackDown.
Do you remember when Kozlov actually beat The Undertaker in real life?
Wait, that actually happened? I thought that was a weird dream I had.
I don't blame you for thinking that. Taker had to deal with some pretty trash rivalries throughout his career, and Kozlov was just one of them.
In that sense. Having the streak last for as long as it did was definitely well deserved. The best company man in wrestling history.
Back when the word streak actually meant something. Nowadays, it's just some stupid phrase you use for keeping in contact with your friends on Snapchat.
Donald mentioning any platform that isn't Trump Social is honestly kind of terrifying.
Wait, what the hell?
What the hell is going on?
He's here, boys.
Holy crap, I completely forgot that he interrupts the match like that.
That was insane. That was more out of nowhere than any RKO Randy Orton has performed in his entire career.
Yeah, well, get used to it, Joe, because that's just a fraction of the weird crap we're going to be seeing throughout this road to WrestleMania.
Does it actually explain why Taker ruined the match in the first place?
My guess is he wants to be in the thick of it and toy with as much prey as he can before his next victim is decided.
Well, it's a shame I'm not here to be a victim. I'm here to break his damn streak whether he likes it or not.
Hell yeah, that's the spirit, Barry.
Look at this, Ted. Guy thinks he's a tag team specialist now.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll tell you both what a good one is. Ted here going to jail for money laundering?
Yeah, I had to second guess myself when I first saw the news coverage.
Well, he got what was coming to him. Money should never be abused like that. Only a complete nutcase would go as far as to steal from the fine American people like that.
Yeah, so about the abusing money point, didn't you go broke once?
Barry, did you hear something?
Yeah, Joe just asked about
That's
you
what
going.
I thought. Let's continue with this.
So what's the reason for us being the ones teaming with Undertaker here instead of either Jericho or Koslov?
Barry, that's a really dumb question. It should be obvious. Jericho and Koslov are the heels and we're the faces.
There's no way it's as simple as that.
Actually, it might be. This is 2010 WWE. After all, so little details like this were probably never really cared about.
You know what, I'm going to take advantage of having the Undertaker playable? He's literally a cheat code in this game.
That's actually an interesting topic. What other broken wrestlers in the games can you think of?
Didn't Roman get a 99 in 2K23?
Oh, hell yes. 2K were out here acknowledging the tribal chief, but the wrestler I was thinking of was Randy Orton from WWE 12. I swear Cover Star Energy was an actual thing back in those days.
I'd argue that every wrestler with resiliency in that game was unstoppable, though. At least when it came to submission matches. Just go watch New Legacy's newest Universe Mode video to see for yourself how bad it is. Easy as the apple pie slices we all had earlier.
Oh, wow, you're getting me hungry again. Can we get some more?
Absolutely not. No way in hell I'm going through that drama again. One more for good measure.
That would have all but confirmed Jericho's victory in the Rumble final back in the day.
Classic 50-50 booking bullcrap.
Excuse me, could I get your thoughts on your match tonight?
With pleasure, Todd. The 30 men in the Royal Rumble match, they're looking at a nice prize if they win. But me, when I win this ladder match, I go on to WrestleMania, where I will make history.
Donald, did you seriously have to play Hail to the Chief for that?
Of course I did. I'm setting the creator up to make that speech of yours look as patriotic as possible.
As great as that sounds. Was that to set up the tourney final rematch?
Yes, it was. Good luck, Barry. I'm pretty sure you've got a triple threat ladder match coming up.
Sounds like a good time for the creator to play some Battle Revolution music then.
Doesn't it seem a bit weird that a ladder match is what's going to decide who faces The Undertaker at WrestleMania?
I disagree with that, to be honest, Joe. It feels like we're ascending the same heavens that Shawn Michaels came down upon at WrestleMania 25. All for the sake of securing our date with the devil.
Okay, what you just said was fire, but maybe keep that kind of talk to a minimum after the whole rapture situation that went on in the AI presidential community
I
recently.
second that. That whole thing was crazy.
I'm just going to test my luck here since for some reason Jericho and Koslov are determined to go after one another no matter what.
You just jinxed that into existence. It almost seemed like a switch went off in the CPU's heads when your hands touched that briefcase. Kind of like Joe when he's getting some ice
I
cream.
could say the same thing about you and your damn apple pie slices.
What the hell was that?
We call that the power of Russia.
Damn it, Donald, what the hell are you referencing them for?
Oh, right, sorry guys, I completely forgot there was a war going on still.
What the hell?
You
That makes no
literally
sense.
said you'd help end it if you get reelected.
Yeah, I don't remember asking.
Check out my second finisher.
The hunting RKO. One of the best finishers in the game.
I don't remember this variant of the move.
That's probably because in WWE 12, the wake-up taunt was introduced to the gameplay.
Oh yeah, Barry's right. In that sense, I wouldn't be surprised if the hunting RKO was removed after this game, because it would basically be pointless to keep it in due to a wake-up taunt already being implemented in the move. Maybe someone in the comments can validate that for us.
The hell was that? It was like I turned that power bomb into a spine buster at the end.
More like a bear hug.
Yeah, you'd know all about bear hugs.
Because I'm fat right.
Correct.
I feel like these jokes are starting to get stale.
Stale like that sugar donut still on your desk?
Joe, knock it off. Even I'm starting to get bored of your fat jokes now.
With Barry, you gotta get to Jericho.
Fuck, got Chris have some of this.
Watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my God! RKO! RKO out of nowhere! RKO out of nowhere! This could be the Money in the Bank
Hell yes. Let's go.
Nice one,
Great
Barack.
job, Barry.
Thanks, boys. Our date with the devil is sealed.
Is this where things start to get weird now, according to you?
It is, Joe. I just don't think you're ready for it after the way you reacted to the Undertaker showing up earlier.
I'll be fine, guys. Trust me.
If he says he's good Donald, then it's his fault if he gets freaked out by what's coming up.
All right then, Joe, but be warned. We've just made a date with the devil.
Trumpet's fine. I swear I can handle whatever the dead man is about to throw at Barry here.
Like I said, Trump, it'll be his fault if he gets freaked out after this.
Congratulations on last night. You wanted it, now you've got it. Just think, if you could beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, you'll forever etch your name in WWE history.
Whoa, Trump, your old TV here is going haywire.
Yeah, you and Ed would have that in common. But trust me, it's not the TV.
And what the hell was that?
Taker has begun his mind games, Joe. And as me and Donald predicted, they're freaking you out.
Hang on, I gotta ask.
Are you okay?
Joe, have you even played this road to WrestleMania?
Oh, hell no, he hasn't.
your eyes
Me and him
glazed
played
over a
through
little
nearly
bit.
all of the SmackDown versus
Come to
Raw
think of
2011
it,
ones years
you
back.
do
We did the
look a
Mysterio
little
one,
pale.
I'm sure
then
I'll
the
be
Cena
fine.
one,
Nothing to
then the
worry
Christian
about.
one,
No, but I
and
am
then the Jericho
worried.
one.
There's too much
But as
on the
soon as
line
it was
here
time to
leave
play
things
the
to
Undertakers,
chance.
Joe
Take
made
the
some
night off.
excuse up
Go
about
home
needing
and
his
get some
daily
rest.
dose of ice
Brawl
cream
will survive if you miss
before
tonight.
forcing me to drive to a
Okay,
place with Ben
Stephanie.
and Jerry's,
You're the boss.
then suggesting a completely different game when we got back.
Whilst you were in office? The president isn't supposed to travel anywhere on his own.
And because of that, I got into some serious trouble with the Secret Service.
How many times do I have to apologize for that?
I don't think that's the point, Joe. What Barry means here is that you probably already knew you'd freak out over the events of this road to WrestleMania. And you've never been man enough to face your fears head on. Hence why you're freaking out right
For
now.
the love of God, I'm not freaking out. I promise you. Whatever the Undertaker has planned next, I'll be ready for it. What the hell is this spooky crap? I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
And I doubt a single person was surprised about that impending outcome.
Hang on, what the hell happened to the Druid music?
Must be a glitch on the PS2 version of this game, perhaps? This is why you should have just got your PS3 out. I know damn well you have this game for it.
It's at another one of my houses with my PS5 Barry. Guess the creator will just have to find some music that fits the tone of the situation.
So just to clarify, since it's been a while, we're technically just in a regular battle royal, right?
Yes, but the Undertaker's mind games have changed our perspective, landing us in this nightmare-like situation where we have to fight off all of the lost souls that he has collected over the
I
years.
totally forgot we have druids watching this match too. I'll back Joe a bit here. If I was a kid playing this for the first time, I'd be at least semi-frightened.
Why on God's green earth are you defending an 80-year-old man being afraid of pixels on a screen?
Come on, Donald. We both know the guy isn't exactly 100% mentally functioning anymore.
As cool as this is, the creator may want to speed this along. It's probably going to take another 10 minutes of screen time getting through this
I
segment.
had the same thought, to be honest.
Watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my God!
Holy hell, Barack, I've just had an epiphany. Do you think these are what Kamala's followers look like?
Donald, you know I'm pro-Harris. We've been over this. If she's in office, that means the three of us have more time to game and hang out together.
As fun as that sounds, Barack, I can't allow Kamala to ruin the country with her woke ideals. Nice going there, Barack.
Thanks, Donald. It got pretty easy after I got rid of the horde that started in the ring with me.
Guys, is the creepy stuff over?
Sit your ass back down, Joe, and start acting like the 80-year-old man you are.
Why the hell does it sound like a damn highway all of a sudden?
I'm pretty sure it's the game itself. The highway sound started as soon as Barry entered the GM's office. Maybe it's another glitch with the PS2 version of this game.
Well, whatever it is, I'm sure the viewers don't want to hear it. Creator, you can go ahead and skip this part.
Your locker room, now.
I don't know what would be scarier in this situation. Kane of all people telling me to meet him in my locker room, or Kane of all people not only having a phone in the first place, but somehow getting our number and calling us to begin with.
Donald, is this the part where Kane becomes crucial to the story?
That's right, Joe. Kane is going to be the key to getting Barry fully prepared for his match with The Undertaker.
Every year, there are more souls. I can't keep them all back anymore. We need the urn. It's the only way to contain them. You have to find the urn. Use it to contain lost souls.
All right, you heard the demon gentleman. We need the urn to contain all of Kamala's supporters before I battle her in the election.
I don't know, Donald. I feel like my VP is doing quite well against you at the moment.
She's doing just as well as you did a second ago when it came to dealing with the Undertaker's mind games.
Of course, the damn thing would be in the one room that sounds like you're walking down the busiest highway in the country.
Oh, what the hell is that? I'm out of here.
Joe, get your ass back on the couch right now.
Yeah, relax, Joe. This is just one of the many souls that we need to collect throughout the rest of the story. If we collect all of these, we'll get something super awesome as a reward.
I'm not usually one for collectathons, but I definitely say the reward at the end of this is worth it.
So what's the story behind this match? I couldn't hear what Stephanie was talking about since we were apparently driving down a highway.
First of all, Joe, it would be the Secret Service driving since, as we've already stated during this recording, the president isn't supposed to be driving at all. Second of all, Stephanie is having us go up against a seasonal veteran, much like what The Undertaker has done in past WrestleManias. She figures it would be a pretty good start to prepping us for the streak match.
Was Finlay's Shillelagh ever usable outside the Road to WrestleMania mode, by the way? I can't remember if you could set it as an optional weapon in other modes like Universe, for example.
I'd be disappointed if you couldn't. That's one thing that I think 2K24 Ace is at, bringing in more personalized weapons to the weapon wheel, like Carlito's Apple, for example.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Guys, it's starting to get really old.
Is it? I don't know, Joe, what do you
I'm
think?
probably the oldest thing living right now, so I can tell you for an absolute fact that no, this isn't old at all.
For the love of God, I work with children.
Wait, hang on. Shouldn't The Undertaker want Finlay to hurt us there?
No, I personally believe that Taker wants his Mania opponents to be at 100%. Because if he was facing a weakened opponent, he'd probably think the soul he just collected wasn't worth the hassle in the first place.
He's a believer of the ring being sacred, just like I'm a believer of keeping America sacred, too.
Oh my God, please knock it off with your cheesy presidential candidate lines.
It's good that you found the urn. Be prepared to use it. But also, be prepared for what happens when all the souls have been retrieved.
What will happen is once we've successfully retrieved all of Kamala's supporters and trapped them back into the urn, there will be nothing stopping me from becoming president
I
again.
don't know, Trump, there may be no coming back for you now after Batista himself roasted you recently.
That retired old animal. Please, he's nothing to be afraid of.
Trump, he would batter the three of us at the same time as if it was a 3-on-1 handicap squash match.
Yeah, you're right, Barry. I'm just upset is all. He would have been a powerful ally for my cause.
Oh, hell no, bye.
How can he be afraid of coffins when he's going to be getting well acquainted with them any day now?
Jesus, Trump, enough of that. How about you tell me what these coffins are for in the first place? I never really understood their reasoning for being here.
I think they're meant to signify future soul placements, ones we cannot unlock yet until we've collected the souls that are currently available to us.
How do you know so much about this game, by the way? You've been one step ahead of me and Joe in terms of knowledge of this road to WrestleMania since we started.
Oh, Barry, let me tell you. Outside of politics and golf, the old SmackDown versus Raw games were my life. I've completed this road to WrestleMania at least half a dozen times, just to see if there were any different interactions with characters, depending on the wrestler you chose to play as. Wrestling games don't get any better than the ones THQ gifted us with.
What the hell? What's going on with my controls all of a sudden? Yeah, okay, it's coming back to me now.
Undertaker taking control of our character felt like an awesome call back to when you could use the Deadman himself to control a zombified Santino back in SmackDown vs. Raw 2009.
I won't lie, that road to WrestleMania has to be the trippiest thing I have ever played, though.
We should totally do a road to WrestleMania tier list someday.
Yeah, one of our viewers has already suggested that. I think it's definitely something the creator will be wanting us to do in the future. There's another match down. I better go find Joe before he finishes off all of your ice cream.
You know where the kitchen is, Barry. There's actually something I need to do whilst you're gone anyway. I'll explain when you get back.
Joe, come on, man. I can't have you being sick because of you eating too much ice cream.
It calms my nerves, Obama, you know this.
So much for being able to handle what The Undertaker had planned for us. All right, Trump, what was this thing you needed to deal with?
So I don't know if this is the same case for the PS3 version of this game, but in the PS2 version, there's a glitch with this upcoming match that basically stops us from completing it with our current moveset. But I'll explain in a minute. Joe, sit your ass down. Now.
No, I don't need more ice cream.
Jesus Christ, Joe, this is actually starting to get pathetic now.
Barry had started getting pathetic the first time he left the room. I was expecting this to spook him, sure, but not scare him out of his presidential pants.
If it makes you feel any better, Joe, I'm pretty sure the spooky side of Taker's mind games take a back seat from now on.
You're almost at the level where I feel confident in your chances against The Undertaker. I'm sure you remember his match at the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania against Shawn Michaels.
Would be a bit weird for us to forget that match since it took place just over a year before this game's release.
The Barry in the game must have acquired Joe's dementia if he ended up forgetting.
You know what, I'll let you have that one. I think I do deserve it after running like a coward multiple times in this session.
I always perform at a high level.
Michelle would disagree.
That was pathetic and childish. Trump, just tell us about this damn glitch already.
Let's wait till we get to the match since it'll be easier to explain. Creator, go ahead and do another skip for us. All right, so we have that star rating on the right-hand side of the screen. Now a star is going to be added after accomplishing an objective. The objectives we have to complete here are executing our 2 signatures and finishers, as well as putting Michaels through the announce table.
Sounds simple enough.
But this is where the glitch comes into play. For some reason, a created finisher never adds a star to the rating, meaning in order to even advance to the next part of the story, I had to take off Barry's drone striker finisher for this match.
Fantastic to hear. I see this as an absolute win.
Barry the drone striker is going straight back into your moveset after this match.
Damn it. 1 down. Let's see what other finisher you gave me for this match. Classic.
We're not going to be seeing this move in real life for much longer.
Yeah, how are you guys feeling about Cena retiring next year?
He said years ago how I would be absolutely perfect for the WWE. And for that, he will have my infinite respect. He's one of the GOATs without question. And I'll miss seeing him in the ring.
I guess, though, we've been getting groomed for the inevitable these past few years anyway, since he's been part-time for a while now.
In that sense, it'll be interesting to see if Cena will be able to give us some final great matches during his retirement tour, or if his body will finally give out. But the guy is the personification of never giving up, so I have faith in him.
Suplex City, bitch! Another signature move. Look at Randy Orton slithering. Watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my God!
Great work, Obama.
Yeah, nice work, man.
Thanks, boys. I won't lie. I've really enjoyed playing through this.
And I'm sure Joe has too.
Okay, look, guys. I'm sorry for letting this game get to me. Admittedly, I was trying to keep up a brave face earlier because I didn't want you guys to think of me as a little wimp. But I guess my actions spoke larger than words in this case.
Joe, listen, man. I owe you an apology as well. The whole reason I came up with the idea to play this to begin with was because I wanted to spook you out as payback for beating me in our Royal Rumble challenge. But I didn't expect you to be that afraid of what the Undertaker had planned. So for that, I'm sorry. And I hope we're still good.
I'll consider the 2 of us, even if I can have the rest of that Ben and Jerry's in your freezer.
You want it? It's yours, my friend.
God, I'm loving this wholesome energy. Come on, boys, let's keep this momentum going and bring an end to the Undertaker streak.
Oh, hell yeah, Barry.
You've raised your game higher than even I expected.
Are you really surprised? I was already great before, and then I got both the Undertaker and Kane to help support me on my way to becoming the president?
Literally how? Just how? This man literally got the freaking Brothers of Destruction to join his cause.
Guess I'm going to have to raise my game higher to stop this man then.
Barry, your commitment to stopping me so the 3 of us have more time to hang out is commendable. But I won't just give the election to Kamala like that. I'm going to fight till the very end.
Hang on a minute. So Stephanie has just said she's not going to be at the shows for a while. And that a special guest general manager is going to be at play?
This part of the story is a little weird, to be honest, as I don't believe it's ever fully explained, but I'll go more into that in a minute. But right now I need to prepare something whilst Barack heads to the green mark on the map.
What exactly are you preparing?
Go to the green mark to find out.
Jesus, man, hang on. I just need to quickly collect the souls we now have access to. All right, then, let's head to the mark.
What am I feeling? This soul, it's different. Father?
Father? No way he's saying who I think it is, right?
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't have seen this since you haven't played this story before. Trust me, Joe, you're going to be in for a treat.
Oh, for the love of God.
You know what to do, Creator.
By now, the WWE Universe is aware of one of the blockbuster WrestleMania matches. Undertaker is putting his streak on the line against my guest at this time. A man who...
I don't need a formal introduction, Todd. But thanks just the same. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Damn it, Todd, move. You're ruining the moment.
Donald, you're an actual child.
Undertaker, I've felt your presence. You've been trying to psych me out, and I don't blame you. You're right to be concerned. At WrestleMania, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to take your streak, and the greatest streak in WWE history will be just that. History. you can pull all the...
It's not wise to...
What the hell? Did the voice stop the music?
No, you idiot, that was me the moment's past.
What the... How did you get here?
Is that Paul Bearer?
Yes, Joe. So the last time we saw him, he was buried in cement by the Undertaker in this road to WrestleMania canon. He has been brought back from the afterlife by the dead man in an attempt for us to prove our worth further.
This is what I meant when I said the spooky mind games would be taking a back seat. Undertaker now knows I'm a threat and is wanting to see just how dangerous I am to his streak. Hence why Paul is here. He's got a couple of challengers lined up for me to see how I measure in terms of the Dead Man's WrestleMania competition.
I've noticed you're starting to now regard this as just yourself rather than the three of us buried.
Oh, am I? I didn't even notice. I guess I'm just that invested in the story.
No offense taken. The magic of these old wrestling games will do that to you.
God, this was so awesome. Having Jake the Snake Roberts be a part of one of the SmackDown vs. Raw games held this game truly felt like the turning point when it came to having the legends be a part of them.
I concur. After this, the Legends roster in the WWE games only got bigger. Hell, it was only a couple of years later where we got the Attitude Era mode in WWE 13. The Legends made up half the roster in that game.
Yeah, that's cool and all. But Donald, remember when you said you were going to explain the whole general manager situation?
Oh, right. So I might need someone in the comments to correct me if I'm wrong. But when Stephanie talked about guest GMs for the next couple of weeks, I feel like she was actually referring to the Legends we're facing. There could be more to this that I'm missing, though.
Makes sense to end this with the RKO since we're facing one of the most famous snakes in the world.
Look at Randy Orton slithering.
Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out! Oh my God! RKO!
Jake, the snake? You took on Jake the Snake last week? Hey, can I borrow that time machine when you're done with it? Because I'd really like to take Marilyn Monroe on a date.
Exceptional reference to the time machine that you unlocked from playing Christian's Road to WrestleMania.
Oh, hell yeah. Maybe I could use that time machine to rig the election if you end up winning it this year.
Just like Joe did 4 years ago. You better not.
Can we read the room here, guys? It's Paul Bearer for crying out loud.
Wait 1 second. Didn't Undertaker bury you in cement?
Another opponent from Undertaker's past will challenge you tonight.
I'm voting for the creator to speed past this match, actually.
Why?
What do you mean, why, Joe?
What do you
It's Jimmy Snuka. You literally made a joke about not referencing him when we did our 2K Showcase tier list, so you definitely know what he did.
It's actually really funny how he was deemed unfit for trial for having the exact same condition Joe's been dealing with for years.
Keep talking, and you can bet your ass I'm using that time machine to cost you the election again.
Superfly! Very good, poor soul.
Thanks, Paul. It was very much my pleasure.
So there's one other thing I need to ask. Is Paul here supposed to be a ghost?
His mind games, and you can all go.
The hell? I swear to God that better not have been another one of the Undertaker's mind games.
Nah, I'm pretty sure it was just the game. It's not the first time it's frozen like that. But yeah, surely Barry punching right through Paul answers your question.
Well, actually, I've got another one. Paul just said we're facing Kane, right? But Kane's been helping us get stronger. Doesn't it feel a bit strange to face him after that?
Oh, sweet little dementia-filled Joe. Have you not been paying attention to all of the souls we've been collecting?
As we said, Joe, collecting them all gives us something really cool at the end. Now, if you decided to not collect them, then yes, you would be facing Kane here. If you had been taking the time to grab them all, though,
What is this? Oh my God, it's Attitude Era Kane!
I am one of the souls harvested by Undertaker, and you are his next. You will never defeat him.
That was awesome,
Oh
guys.
my God, I know, right? That was so cool.
and now the scene has been set. We now face the first version of Kane that The Undertaker claimed at WrestleMania. The final challenge before the dead man himself, gentlemen.
It's Kane! But not the Kane we're used to, King. It's like he stepped out of a time capsule.
I swear that's another reference to Christian's time machine.
Wait, so hang on. We're now facing Attitude Era Kane, right? So what happened to the modern day version? Does he just disappear?
I mean, why wouldn't you? Attitude Era Kane was the closest thing we had to a demon in human form.
Now hold on a second, Bald. Kane did some pretty nasty things too. Remember when he tombstoned Vince's wife? and shocked his son's testicles?
2003 Kane was pretty crazy too. It honestly sucks that so much of what he did 2 decades ago has kind of become null and void to some people because of the corporate persona he had during the 2010s.
Oh, good Lord, Kane caught him.
Side note, some of these old finisher animations were brutal. Kane's chokeslam being a prime example.
I'll tell you one modern day finisher that would look crazy in the older games. LA Knight's Blood Force Trauma. Man literally forces his foe's head straight into the canvas. It could easily work as a Mortal Kombat finisher. It's also what Kamala needs a bit of.
Oh, come on, Trump, you've been making shots at my VP ever since we started recording this series.
Yeah, Donald, it's starting to get a bit repetitive. I'll tell you what, if you put this whole thing to rest whilst we're hanging out together, I may consider slowing down my efforts on supporting Harris becoming president.
That's bigger damn clickbait than Chaos and Sonic Forces, or literally anything that comes out of Dave Meltzer's mouth these days. But I'll do it anyway, for the people, because that's what a great president does.
Sure, whatever, as long as it means I don't have to listen to your election ramblings anymore.
You have proven yourself worthy. At WrestleMania, I will take your soul and add it to those I have sacrificed over the years.
I'm more than worthy to face you, dead man. You and your fat little puppet have tried to put me through hell, to freak me out, to throw me off my game. But none of it has worked. I hope you're ready, Undertaker, because at WrestleMania, your streak will die.
So what? Hail to the Chief is like my calling card now?
You're facing the Undertaker, Barry. You have to look as patriotic as possible in front of death itself.
I've been waiting for you.
I don't know why, poor soul. My job here is done.
But my business with you isn't.
Barry, please don't tell me you're about to fight an old man right now.
Oh, come, Joe, it's a damn video game. It's a scripted event for crying out loud.
Nah, I've got your back, Barack. If the 2020 election was decided via a fist fight, I'd have knocked Joe out like on the Big Show using the WMD.
Which is funny because that move is famously one of the worst finishers the wrestling world has ever seen.
Oh, you said you would protect me.
I guess now that your job is done, so is your usefulness.
Man, I didn't think you could be that cold, Barry.
Once again, it's a scripted event. But I'm going to enjoy this regardless after what he's put us through.
The trio then gave up trying to get past this part of the story because Paul Bearer apparently acquired the Iron Man suit in this mode and could not be KO'd, basically making the series completely pointless because they couldn't get to the final match. Luckily, Joe, yes, Joe of all people, came up with an idea that at least gives us the Barry versus Undertaker match that's been promised.
This feels a little anticlimactic.
Barry, this was the only way we could still make this video somewhat functional. If anything, this enhances the finale since the match is now on modern-style 2K24 gameplay.
But as a way to make up for it, we're going to ask the creator to do more than the minimum amount of work and try and make this match as epic as possible. With that said, creator, do your thing.
sure it's okay for me to be here? I doubt Michelle is my biggest fan at the moment, seeing as her husband has turned against me in the election.
Don't worry, bro. She's currently out shopping. I knew I was about to introduce you both to Absolute Peak today, so I made sure to give her enough money that would keep her busy for hours.
Wait, I'm actually confused as to why Donald is here to begin with. I thought he hated Sonic.
How many freaking times do I have to tell you, Sleepy Joe? I said I hated how Sonic stole the thunder of saving the day from King D in subspace. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of the series, I will admit that Shadow Generations has had me very intrigued.
Yeah, this game has basically been my life for the past week when I'm not busy supporting Kamala in her attempts to become president. But say, Donald, how about you start us off here? I've got all the stages for Shadow's portion of the game unlocked, so you can choose whichever one you want.
That's the least you can let me do for supporting that witch Harris. Anyways, I want to go to Kingdom Valley.
Because of the massive walls?
Is that a problem, Joe?
Your obsession for walls is just getting old is all.
But not as old as you, so I fail to see the issue here.
You've got us off to a great start, Donald. I'd argue that Kingdom Valley is the best stage in the game, which is saying a lot since we've also got the regular Sonic Generations packaged onto this game too.
Let me cook here real quick. Oh hell yes, I remember seeing this shortcut when gameplay for this first released to the public. And that's when I knew this game was going to be a banger. For the first time since the original Generations. We've actually got proper level design for 3D Sonic.
We're just going to forget that Sonic Forces was a thing?
How dare you, Joe!
Wait, if sorry, don't shout at me!
We do not talk about that game whilst I'm in the middle of playing Peak.
Yeah, Joe, I'm sorry, but that was such an L-take, and I'd appreciate if you didn't bring that game up again for the rest of this recording session.
See, look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Good level design. Alternate pathways through the stage.
And this applies to all of the stages in Shadow Generations. But I'd argue that this stage has some of the best ones. Hence why it's my favorite. Oh, and get ready, Donald. It's time for one of the new Doom powers.
Ah, yes, the Doom Surf. I won't lie, this is pretty fun to control. That being said, I really can't help but be reminded of Plessy from Mario 3D World when using this.
Yeah, and why does Shadow even need a Doom power to surf across water anyway? Couldn't he just skate super fast over it? Or use a hoverboard like Sonic has done in the past?
I can't give you an answer for the first question, Joe. But as for the second one, do you really want to be reminded of Sonic Free Riders?
We're really just going to be bringing up all of Sonic's garbage whilst I'm playing through the best game he's had for over a decade? Hell, this isn't even Sonic's game to begin with, so even that is fake news. It's good to see the almighty Eagle back too. A sign of hope for the country.
And all our fellow Americans can grab that hope by voting for Kamala Harris to be your next president.
Ain't no way you're promoting my VP whilst we're recording for YouTube, Barry.
I mean, someone has to, seeing as you're too busy biting children nowadays.
Oh, come on, man.
Donald, press L2 for me.
Holy crap, that was awesome.
Was that another Doom power?
Indeed it was. That was the Doom Blast. And as you can see, it can be used to get to other areas of a stage that might be inaccessible through regular means.
I think we've got another one, boys.
Nice one, Trump, you're learning quick.
Are you surprised? I'm already the best player of this game, and I've only been playing for a few minutes.
Oh, damn, guys, you want to see my Knuckles impression?
Let's hear it.
You already are, because I'm not chuckling. Donald jokes are supposed to be funny. Do better next time.
I could say the same to you, because it's supposed to be a joke that you're supporting Kamala. Do you see me laughing at that?
Wow, they actually included the Mach Speed section from the original version of Kingdom Valley.
I love the callbacks in these stages. Trust me, there's many more of these to come.
God, I'm so good at this game.
I'm still not chuckling, but nice going, Donald.
Can I have a go next, Barry?
Of course, Joe, go ahead.
Why did you pick Rail Canyon to play then?
Why wouldn't I? This comes from the most goated game in the series. I will always treasure grinding on the rails side by side with Tails and Knuckles. Speeding through the stage with the power of teamwork.
I'm sure you're excited about the rumors of a Sonic Heroes remake then, right?
We cannot be going back to the past again for the next game, no matter how good it sounds to have Sonic Heroes on the modern Hedgehog engine. Sega needs to craft something new and original for their next project whilst they have this boosted momentum. Then after that, I will be more than happy for Sonic Heroes to get the proper treatment it should have gotten 20 years ago.
Rare W there from the Trumpster.
Saying my W's are rare is more fake than that pathetic Time Eater final boss we got in base Generations. Also, Joe, I didn't think you'd have the mental capacity to look for alternate routes like you did just a second ago.
And he's just found a second one too, thanks to Chaos Control. Joe, you're kind of cooking here, I won't lie.
Damn it.
And just like that, he's burnt his cooking worse than what Presidential Chat's Joe did to the burgers in his fast food video.
Nice reference. Recognizing greatness is what we do around here.
What in the world? Barry, what's happening?
This is Black Doom messing with reality, Joe. In a few of the stages, he will transport you to a corrupted version of Radical Highway to test you, as he attempts to turn Shadow into the ultimate weapon.
The Radical Highway stuff isn't a joke? I've been seeing people all over Trump's social making memes about Black Doom liking the stage too much.
First of all, Trump, stop trying to promote your terrible social media platform.
You literally promoted Kamala's campaign a few minutes ago.
Secondly, though, yeah, it honestly feels kind of obsessive from Black Doom to want to use Radical Highway to torment Shadow. Especially since Westopolis would have made for a much better location, seeing as that's where the two first met originally.
Hey, actually, yeah, you're right. I checked the stage list before picking Kingdom Valley earlier, and there wasn't a single stage from the Shadow the Hedgehog game. So you're telling me we don't get representation from Shadow's own stage library, but Chaos Island from Frontiers is here? That's a game that Shadow wasn't even a part of.
Yeah, we didn't even get any levels from Lost World either. I mean, that's just crazy. Guys?
Barry, why does he keep doing this?
Seriously, Joe, please stop bringing the worst of Sonic's games back into the light.
But I like Lost World.
That alone should have lost you the election back in 2020. This is so rigged. How in the world is Joe, of all people, ranking stages?
Cope, cry, and whimper, you fat orange. That was awesome to play, though, Barry.
I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Joe. Hand over the controller, bro. It's my turn to have a crack at this.
I'm expecting only the finest quality gameplay here, Barry, considering how this has been your life for the past week outside of politics.
Trust me, Donald, I intend to cook. Watch closely as the Obama-nator moves through this stage at the speed of sound.
That was more cringe than Tails and Sonic Forces.
Is Forces really that bad in general? I didn't mean to disrespect you earlier, Donald. I just remember enjoying the game when it first came out.
Oh my God, how on earth did I lose to this man in 2020?
Relax, Donald. Joe ended up taking a decade-long break from the series after Sonic 2006, so that's probably why he doesn't have too many bad memories of the game, since he didn't really have anything to compare it to at the time.
Wait, so does that mean he hasn't even played Base Generations?
Don't worry, I played that sometime after and I loved it. Hell, would you guys be up for playing Sonic's side of this game sometime?
Perhaps in the future we can. We'll have to see.
I think I just
Shut your damn mouth, Donald.
Jesus, guys, it's natural for crying out loud.
If I end up failing on this stage, Donald, it will be your fault.
A few moments later.
That was your fault, Donald.
Oh, shut up, Barry!
Obama is in the right for supporting my VP after that.
How dare you!
I need to let some steam off after that, so I'm going to beat Metal Sonic's ass.
Oh, this is an amazing boss fight, so I'm sure you're about to cook. Maybe see if you can get an S rank on this fight, since I'm yet to do that.
What's the objective here then?
Phase 1 basically involves throwing as much crap into Neo Metal Sonic here with all this garbage in the ocean.
Can we talk about how Shadow is basically 4 times stronger than Sonic from this alone?
How'd you come up with those fake numbers?
Don't you dare talk about fake numbers, Joe. Now look, it took Super Sonic as well as Tails and Knuckles and Super Shields to beat this guy in Heroes, while Shadow is going one-on-one with this guy as if he's the Undertaker. Also, whilst Shadow may be using Doom powers, that's nothing compared to the invincible might of Super Sonic. So if you take the super form, the 2 shielded Republicans, the power of teamwork, as well as the fact that Doom Shadow is not as strong as Super Sonic, you get a factor of times 4 more power than what Shadow is currently using to fight Metal Sonic here.
What the hell did I just listen to? Steiner Maths?
You take your 33 and a third chance, minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
I didn't even think to use that Chaos Control shortcut there.
Come on, Barry, you gotta think outside the box when it comes to this game. I bet there's still shortcuts and alternate routes you're still yet to find even a week later.
It honestly makes me sad that Joe's return to the series ended up being Sonic Forces, especially when we finally have our hands on some peak level design again.
But guys, what about that overclocked mod for the game? I saw some gameplay of it when it was released nearly a year ago, and it looks great.
Joe, you literally just said the word mod, hence something that Sega themselves didn't make. We have the amazing Sonic community to thank for banding together to create Overclocked, just like the American people will be thanked for banding together to get me back in office. This game literally feels like a movie at times.
I know the two of us have been bashing on Sonic Forces a lot here, but that game deserves it. Seeing these animations is a clear sign that both us and Sega were in the trenches back in 2017. Go watch some of the cutscenes in that game and you'll see what I mean.
Do you think they advertised that Forces was created by the team who made Generations, just to get more people to buy the game, knowing full well it wasn't up to par with the quality we were expecting?
Oh, 100%. It's just like with WWE 2K19. They knew the game was destined to fail, so they did everything possible to hide the terrible gameplay from the fans, much like what Sega tried to do with Forces. This game, though, is different. They knew they were cooking with Shadow Generations and wanted to showcase it as much as possible.
Damn it!
I think it's my turn again, Barry. I want to try out one of the 2D stages in this game.
Might I make a recommendation? Kingdom Valley's 2D stage goes hard just like its 3D variant.
Going back to what I was saying earlier, though, Sega knows they've hit gold with this game. It marks a huge turnaround for the series. Just like me being president again is a huge turnaround for the country.
Shut up!
You want me to shut up? Stop endorsing Kamala, then we'll talk?
My God, this is getting unbearable.
More unbearable than waiting for Silver to get his own game.
You guys actually like that fake hedgehog?
I know he's not been the best written character in the games, but just go take a look at what he's done in the comics and you'll see just how badass of a character he can be.
No, I refuse to touch another Sonic comic again after seeing what the IDW series did to Shadow in the Metal Virus saga.
Joe, I must say I'm really impressed with how quick you've gotten used to the game's mechanics. Seeing you instantly find that Doom Blast shortcut brought a smile to my face.
Thanks, Barry. I'm honestly just going with the flow, constantly searching for any alternate paths I can find. Oh my God, you guys are right. There's none of this in Forces. How could I have been so blinded? Guys, I'm so sorry. I know I'm pretty slow to most things nowadays, but this is a new low for me.
Don't worry about it, Joe. I'm just glad you've seen the light. Honestly, I take some of the blame for the game's existence in the first place, seeing as it came out during my presidency.
Do you remember the 2D sections in that game? I've never felt more sad as a Sonic fan than I was forcing myself to go through those stages.
Nice pun, Barry.
I didn't even mean to say that.
But you're so right regardless. I honestly don't think 2D sections in Sonic games have looked this good since the classic days.
Damn it! You've gotta be kidding me!
Oh God, that sucks. I'm sorry, Joe, but that's definitely cost you the S rank.
Even I feel bad about this considering how close you were to the end.
Game's the game, gentlemen. I'm not gonna let it bother me. You're gonna end things off here for us, Barry?
I may as well, so that way the three of us would have gotten 2 stages each in this video.
I'm doubling down here when I say Chaos Island being in this game makes no sense. That said, though, the fact that they made the literal open world of Frontiers into a stage is masterful work from Sega. It's oh so great.
Did you just turn into a damn inkling there, Barack?
I know it looks like that, Joe. But no, this is yet another Doom power. It's called the Doom Morph, allowing you to travel through those treacherous purple spots.
I do recall people on Trump's social talking about this one, saying it was a bit more difficult to master.
2 things, Trump. First of all, I've already told you to stop mentioning that failed social media platform. And 2, skill issue. Once you figure out how to use the Doom Morph, it becomes a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean, Barry. This looks awesome.
I refuse to comment after that second jab towards Trump's social.
So I will admit, guys, I haven't actually played Sonic Frontiers yet. Is that a bad thing?
It's not as bad as liking Forces, I guess.
Nah, to be honest, Joe, we shouldn't hold it against you. I will admit I didn't actually pick the game up until a few months later after its release. It's definitely worth the purchase, especially with the DLC that Sega released last year, where you get to play as Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. But as Eggman says in Base Generations,
Time for a change of pace!
Really, Donald? Again?
Hey guys, this is what I'm going to say to Kamala when the election numbers start getting counted.
Catch me if you can!
You're a man-child, Donald. Go on, Barry.
So, yeah, it's a change of pace with its more open-world style gameplay. I won't lie, as cool of a concept as it is, I prefer the regular stage style. I understand that they probably wanted to switch things up after making the worst stages we've ever seen back in Forces. But it seems they've reignited their passion and creativity with the stages they've given us here with Shadow Generations.
And in case fellow presidential creator Broadway wants to make a comment about us having to rate Forces as if it just came out, don't worry, it's just as bad now as what it was upon release. Just like Pokemon Yellow.
That seemed a bit personal.
We've already established that the creator is petty like that.
Come on, baby, give me that S rank.
I don't swing that way, Barry.
I'm quite relieved to hear that after that comment you made during the Space Colony Arc stage. I just creamed my pants as if I was in a Tweaking Presidents video.
What the hell, Barry? You know I love this game. I thought you were going to wait for me until you played it.
Oh, Bush, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot I invited. Hey, wait a minute. Did you seriously bring a keyboard with you just to smash it in front of us?
You're damn right I did. And as punishment for forgetting about me, you can be the ones to clean it up.
The next president of the United States refuses to perform such a meaningless task.
I said start cleaning.
I'm sorry. But in our defense, we weren't going to wait forever for you to show up just because you were finishing up at the ranch.
Besides, some of us had an election to go and win. And it wasn't Biden this time.
Once again, it's still my White House until January.
Well, either way, we're going to play some Sonic Generations together as a way for you guys to make it up to me. Mainly because I've been craving a return back to it after finishing up Shadow's portion of the game.
I'm actually in that same boat, as you can see. I've only just started going through the original Generations again, which is why I'm only up to Sky Sanctuary.
Which is what I'll be playing to start us off today. Then the three of you could play a zone each after.
Actually, I want to tackle the next 2 bosses. Barack and Joe can go through Speed Highway and City Escape.
Just pretend you didn't see that.
What happened there, George?
I may have forgotten just how tanky Sonic felt in this game.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not the only one feeling that. Playing Sonic Generations right after Shadow's version is such a huge control change that you need to be aware
Or
of.
it could just be a massive skill issue.
Says the guy who wants to play the easiest 2 stages we're going to be going through in terms of control. All you're going to be doing is running one direction the entire time.
Now wait a damn minute, Bush. I'm not playing the first 2 boss stages in this game because of that.
Then enlighten me, Trump. What's the reason?
Because the President of the United States deserves to be the one to play the boss stages.
Thank you very much, Donald.
Shut up!
I gotta say, the original Sonic Generations still looks amazing despite it being 13 years old now.
Jesus. Push aside, we've all ran the country during that time.
Yeah, that's pretty insane to think about. But to be honest, those Sonic games have had a pretty good pedigree of still looking amazing during today's time since Unleashed was released all the way back in 2000.
Pedigree? Was that a Triple H reference?
Time to play the game!
For real, though, I agree with Bush. Except for Forces, of course.
For the love of God, can we please stop referencing Forces every time we play a Sonic game?
The game forces me to mention it, though, Barry.
Good one, Don.
God damn it.
A riveting gameplay, Bush.
I told you Donald's Sonic controls. Like a damn tank.
A good workman never blames his tools.
Can I make an exception and blame Kamala for you winning the election?
Did you just call your VP a tool?
I am more than happy to make that exception. That was one of the worst run-throughs of Sky Sanctuary I've ever seen. And yet Bush would have still gotten an S if he hadn't blacked out during his run.
Yeah, compare the grading system to the one in Shadow Generations. And they're complete opposites of each other.
Whatever. I'm going to redeem myself in Classic Sonic's version of this stage.
How are you finding Classic Sonic's controls, Bush?
Now this is much better, Barack. You can still feel a bit of tankiness, especially with Classic Sonic's jumps and acceleration. But it's nowhere as bad as modern Sonic.
And we're positive this isn't just a skill issue?
Tell you what, Donald mentioned skill issue towards Bush again, and you won't even be getting a turn on this game.
Excuse me? You can't do that to the future president.
Exactly, future. Get absolutely wrecked, Trump.
I'm literally kicking your old ass out of that chair in under 2 months.
Don't worry about it, Barry. I'm having fun. And that's all that matters.
Way to make me feel guilty, George.
Do you guys think we'll ever see Classic Sonic again?
I wouldn't be too surprised if we didn't after the flop that was Sonic Superstars.
Was the game actually bad? I think it looks really good and would love to play it. Hint, hint, creator.
Joe, stop trying to make the creator buy games for you to play.
Especially since the creator is British. The only reason I still employ him is because he's the one that actually owns the channel instead of us. Otherwise, I would have kicked his ass long ago, just like I'll do to Starmer.
Can we talk about how that man is literally caring about everything else except for his own damn country?
Nope, that's not our business. Now back to Joe's question. Superstars isn't bad per se. I actually had fun playing it. But I was expecting more than what the final product gave me. That said, I wouldn't mind giving the game another play.
You better call me if you decide to make a video on that.
And you better not take up too much time at the ranch and miss another damn Sonic video recording.
That's what I'm talking about, gentlemen. I am quite satisfied with that run.
Not bad, George. Now give me that controller so I can show you how to play this game properly.
Once again, Trump, your 2 stages are literally just you more or less running in one direction. So I'm expecting you to absolutely fly through them.
Watch me cook, Barry. Stop laughing! You want to laugh at my misfortune, Joe? Here's how I'm going to kick you out of the White House in January.
It's out of the park!
Does he just have that soundboard app on his phone on standby?
Yes, and it's the second greatest idea I've ever had.
What's the first?
That Kingdom Valley-like wall I'm going to build, of course.
You know, George, seeing this boss gate reminds me of something from Shadow's part of the game.
What's that?
Did you notice that in order to unlock Mephiles' boss gate, you needed 4 keys? Unlike the Biolizard and Metal Overlord, who only needed 3.
Oh my God, yes, I thought that was an incredible touch of detail in regards to letting you know how dangerous the guy was.
Not to mention how unlike the Biolizard and Metal Overlord boss gates, which are more or less out in the open in the hub world. You've got to use the Doom Morph powers to make your way through an unmarked cave under Chaos Island's hub mountain, and through an ancient-looking maze route just to get to Mephiles in the first place.
It's almost as if the Time Eater is telling us that even it knows the danger Mephiles would bring if he was to ever be released. Shadow Generations truly gave the guy the redemption he's deserved for nearly 20 years now.
Counterpoint, he comes from Sonic 2006, so the effort Sega put in for him was a waste of time.
You know what won't be a waste of time? Me socking you square in the mouth for that comment.
What the hell is up with everyone threatening the future president today?
Just play the damn boss, Donald.
Hey, what the hell?
If only you weren't as fat. You could have avoided that.
I'm going to kick you in your decomposing ankles in a minute.
Holy crap, that's exactly how I kicked you out of the White House 4 years ago.
It's funny because the Death Egg robot basically resembles Donald's physique.
So it's just hate on Donald Day, I see.
It's what you deserve for disrespecting one of the best villains in Sonic history.
What the hell was
A
that?
skill issue if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, okay, Bush.
Don't be getting salty now. You started this when you criticized my gameplay earlier.
You want to talk about gameplay? How about me bouncing into that final move straight from the bomb hit?
Yeah, okay, Trump, I'll give you that one. That was sick as hell.
If his speeches are anything to go by, though, we won't be hearing the end of this anytime soon.
Hey, I can be humble when necessary. Unlike Barack here when he doubled down on Kamala winning the election, even with all the red flags that Joe himself mentioned to us.
Yeah, that was kind of cringe, bro, I won't lie.
Are you kidding me? You as well, Bush? Get off my damn back and pass the controller already. It's my turn. Oh, what the hell?
Who's got the skill issue now then?
Yeah, sorry, Barack. I hate to have to do you like this, but you could have prevented that.
No, I literally couldn't. You're supposed to move the analog stick left or right to change rails, and doing that literally sent me flying.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Barry just can't be humble.
Shut your mouth!
So what do you guys think of the dialogue changes in this version of Generations?
Oh, come on, George. Why you gotta bring that cringe up when I'm running down the damn skyscraper in Speed Highway?
Dialogue changes?
Yes, Joe, the cast came back to record updated lines for the game. I honestly find it a bit confusing and, as Barack said, pretty much cringe. Because in my opinion, it's overall a step down from the dialogue we had in the original release back in 2011.
The concept I like was Sega giving themselves a second chance to add a bit more depth into Generations' story and give us some more callbacks, much like we got in Frontiers. In execution, however, yeah, I can't work with it.
Nice job there, Barry.
Thanks, George. It took me a while to get used to Sonic's tanky controls again, but overall that wasn't the worst run of modern Speed Highway I've played.
Wasn't as good as my Death Egg finale, though.
And what about that Metal Sonic performance?
Fair enough, I'll knock it off.
So back to the conversation a moment ago. You guys don't like the new dialogue?
Correct.
It's not the worst thing in the world. But there are plenty more things Sega could have improved in this game that would have had a more positive reaction from the fans.
It just feels so awkward in my opinion.
Give me an example.
This is a line I actually skipped a minute ago for the sole reason that I didn't want to listen to it again. But upon coming out of the Death Egg's boss gate and meeting his classic self, Sonic mentions the time stones and how they haven't been used to bring us to white space. The problem, though, is the way it's said. End of the day, the original game came out 13 years ago. Roger Craig Smith and the rest of the crew have expectedly aged, so we can't expect them to sound as great as they once were. But I can't help but feel there's either a bit of timing or heart that went missing during these modern recordings of the dialogue.
And because of that unknown variable missing, it just feels so awkward listening to these new voice lines.
Even more awkward than listening to Joe stutter during his speeches.
Okay, look, I get what you're saying, but that was an unnecessary shot fired, Donald.
To be honest, Joe, I'm actually glad your time at the White House is coming to an end for that very reason. I was starting to get really worried for you, man.
Oh, God damn it, I should have taken my foot off the spin dash pedal there.
Skill issue, Barry. And don't worry, Joe, you can be sure that the White House will be in safe hands with me back in office.
I mean, at the very least, you're the lesser of two evils. I called Kamala a tool earlier for a reason.
Aren't you going to defend her, Barry?
I'm playing the damn game, you fat orange, leave me alone.
Sounds like I hit a nerve.
You know, since I'm playing it, I might as well come out and say that Speed Highway is my favorite zone from original Generations.
Not a bad take at all, Barack. I think Sega did a great job at bringing this stage into the modern limelight.
It's just so exhilarating. From spots such as running down that skyscraper, to the awesome music that accompanies both acts. Not to mention, I think these cop robots have a lot of charm to them and fit so well going up against classic Sonic.
Oh, come on, Barry, you make this so easy for me.
What are you getting at?
Why is your favorite stage the one that includes the cop cars?
Donald, I might have to take back my previous statement of you being the lesser of two evils if you progress any further with your joke.
He won't get the chance to anyway, as I would have knocked him out by then. Anyways, Joe, the controller is yours. Finish things off for us with some City Escape.
Gladly.
Seeing as Obama started the conversation off, I might as well continue it and state that while my previous gameplay probably doesn't showcase the fact, Sky Sanctuary is without question my favorite stage in the game.
Talking about that stage as I'm playing City Escape actually reminds me of a dream I once had.
Oh, great, here we go.
So I was playing modern Sonic's active Sky Sanctuary. It was all going well. I was set to beat my personal record. I just landed on that small path at the end of the stage which leads to the goal ring. And as I'm about to make contact with it, yeah, that.
Wait, so to clarify, you dreamed of the gun truck smashing through the Sky Sanctuary walls as you was about to finish the level.
Actually, it might have been a daydream.
Wait a minute, what?
Joe, I hope you weren't daydreaming this whilst you were still my VP buddy.
I'm just going to move on from this awkward situation and bring the conversation back to Bush's point. I do rate Sky Sanctuary being your favorite stage, George. And to be honest, it barely misses out on being my favorite as well. I will admit, though, that it is the best looking stage in the game.
Oh, absolutely. The music slaps as you would expect. I think the jump portal things are pretty neat. And the sanctuary collapsing underneath you as you progress will always be a goated Sonic moment.
More goated than the truck, though. Because honestly, that's what makes City Escape my favorite stage.
Not a bad pick at all, Joe.
If we're being real, though, I think anything that isn't Planet Wisp is a good pick to be your favorite stage in this game.
I love how the truck is the main point of this entire act. because of the reckless driving. It breaks through practically everything in its path, even changing the level design at certain points, which I think is pretty neat.
You know, Joe, I feel like the truck is a great foreshadowing of your presidency. Breaking everything great that I built and replacing that greatness with crap that I'm going to be spending the next 4 years fixing.
Why the hell do you have to bring every conversation we have back to politics?
And there we see Joe's presidency crashing down.
Donald, enough of this, please. Don't let the thought of your second term raise your ego further like that, because you're just going to hurt the people around you as a result.
God, hanging out with you all gets incredibly stressful at times.
Well, you know for a fact who the damn instigator is.
Look, Joe, I'm sorry about the escalation of tensions a minute ago. I didn't actually expect you to get so triggered by my comments. I was just horsing around like we usually do.
It's fine, Donald. I did kind of deserve it after the fat jokes I made towards you during the Death Egg Boss. Besides, rolling around at the speed of sound here on City Escape is a nice way to forget about it.
This alone definitely puts City Escape a close second to Speed Highway when it comes to my favorite stage in this game.
Just to clarify, you're referring to base generations only, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I personally think Shadow Generations level design is, well, levels above base generations, but that's just me. I'm not too sure if that's a controversial opinion or not.
Any opinion is controversial according to the internet. Say, Donald, I don't believe you've actually answered my question yet. You got a favorite stage in this game?
It has to go to Rooftop Run. The atmosphere of the city is a true spectacle. It gives me a clear vision of the future. When I make America great again, I swear the streets of the country are going to be out partying and vibing just as much as the people of Spagonia do.
I'd call you out for taking the conversation back to politics, but that was surprisingly wholesome.
I don't want to sound like an ass, Joe, but it's quite alarming to hear you wanting to discuss anything other than politics when you're still the president until the end of January.
Hey, everyone needs a break from their day jobs. Luckily, we have the art of gaming to provide that for us.
Ain't that the truth? So what about Shadow Generations? Do you guys have a favorite stage for that?
How about we save our opinions for those stages at a later time? It would make a pretty great tier list video. We'll be sure to invite you to record that with us, George.
Excellent.
Oh yes, boys, my juices are flowing now.
Damn it, Joe, don't be stealing Shai Kong's lines like that.
Sorry, I'm just extremely turned on right now.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm ending this right here and now. The new equipment this truck has makes the thing super goofy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe, I don't want to spoil this for you, but the saw blades just ain't it cheap.
Nah, I actually agree with you, Bush. They just weren't a necessary addition. But that doesn't stop me from enjoying this final section like my life depends on it.
Oh, wow, a wholesome end to a debate. I never would have thought this was a possibility after the arguments we've had today.
I mean, it's not too late for me to make it about politics again.
Yeah, don't bother wasting your breath like that.
Now that's what a true climax feels
Seriously, Joe, where the hell has this inappropriate behavior come from?
As Game Producer 6, like behavior aside, that was a great finale to this session, boys. I had a lot of fun. Let's do this again sometime.
I'll 100% be back if we're doing that Shadow Generations tier list.
If you can handle me making everything about politics, then you're more than welcome here.
It's worth it if it means I get to hang with the boys.
Nice one, Bush.
It is so good to be back where I belong. It's time to make this country great once again. I am so excited to kick things off and make the oh-so-great people of the United States proud.
You fat orange! It's still not your White House!
Then once the Secret Service managed to take that bat off Joe's hands, they escorted me from the building. Joe, for real, were you actually going to hit me with it?
You won't need to find out as long as you stay in your lane until January.
Donald, what the hell were you thinking sneaking into the president's office like that?
I just wanted to get an early start with adjusting myself to that oh-so-great presidential chair again. I thought Joe wouldn't mind.
Yeah, well, you clearly thought wrong. Anyways, thanks you two for agreeing to hop into the Discord to record this tier list with me. Some of our fine viewers have waited quite a while for us to rank the Road to WrestleMania stories that we were given in the older wrestling games, so we hope it was worth the wait.
Guess we're starting off kind of mid then. The Batista and Ray story from 2009 should go in C.
Absolutely not. That is the sleepiest take you've ever said. And this is coming from the sleepiest guy in the room.
Now hold on, Joe, be honest with us here. Have you only got a problem with this because the gimmick of this story reminds you of Sonic Heroes?
The silence says it all. Are you kidding us, Joe?
But guys with the power of teamwork, Batista and Ray can rise to the top of the WWE together as one unit, as if they were Sonic Heroes.
Stop, Joe, you're saying cringe.
Look, Joe, I enjoy the concept of this story, but they kept it very basic compared to what it could have been. For example, why does Batista not turn heel if you select Ray to win the Rumble with? I feel like him snapping like it's bragging rights 2010, and him and Ray ending things with a face versus heel match at WrestleMania would have made the finale of the story so much more exciting.
I get what you're saying, but it's not going in C. The friendship between the two is wholesome enough to avoid a tier as low as that.
I actually agree that it deserves a higher tier because of how fun the tag team concept is.
All right, fine. I'll allow the motion to be carried seeing as I've been outvoted here, which is what I did to Kamala. Did you guys see that, by the way?
Donald, there's no need to try and start a fire between us like that. We're both happy to see our fat orange friend back in the president's chair.
I mean, that was before he went off to invade my office after I shook hands with him.
Come on, Joe. I was just trying to settle back into my favorite house. Anyway, what's next on the list?
We've got another co-op-based Road to WrestleMania story next. This time, however, it's a case of rivals trying to outdo one another rather than a great friendship succeeding at getting to the top.
Ah, yes. The ECW invasion in this story adds an awesome spice here, too. There's some fun, challenging matches to play through in this. Not to mention that Champion of Champions belt that you get as an award for completing this story is awesome.
It actually looks much better than what I thought it was. Although it would be peak if the title was gold rather than silver.
Who did you guys decide to complete the final match with?
Triple H, of course. King of Kings, Champion of Champions. The script writes itself.
Pretty much. I'll go ahead and stick this into A would have gotten S if the ECW invasion angle remained strong throughout the whole story. But once the world titles were destroyed, I feel like the angle took a major step back from the fold.
Okay, so the created star story from WWE 12 can go into S because Austin Aries voiced Jacob Cass here. And as we saw in that one match against John Morrison, he takes his business very seriously. The businessman in me respects him very much.
So ignoring the fact that Jacob's voice actor is a complete ass, I thought this was a goated story and a great way to end the road to WrestleMania lineage. We got another invasion angle here. It gave us a potential what-if scenario of if WCW successfully took control of the company. This sets up some great cutscenes and an awesome final Hell in a Cell match.
Even though Kevin Nash sounds just as sleepy as me after 10 minutes of being the president, I very much thought this was a great send-off for the Road to WrestleMania series from THQ. I love how we went from an NXT prodigy to one of the top guys in the company as the story went on.
It's a shame that Jacob Cass's career fell just as hard as Alex Hunter's from FIFA after this, considering we never see him again. But I very much agree with you both. My favorite part of this, though, has to be the abundance of legends that we get to face off against. From the likes of Arn Anderson and Vader, to Kevin Nash and Booker T, it's an absolute treat for old school wrestling fans.
A treat that I'm going to go ahead and stick into the S tier. Looks like we're continuing the created superstar trend with the one from SmackDown vs. Raw 2010 next.
Oh, hell yes, this is the one I want to play with you both next. Alpha Wicked made a save with us in the 2010 game as well, so I'd say it's definitely worth a look.
Isn't this the one where Santino makes you wear a chicken costume for that Elimination Chamber match?
Indeed, it is Joe.
Yeah, you can be the one to play this then. I feel like I'm enough of an idiot as it is letting Kamala try and run for president.
Oh, come on, Joe, she didn't do that bad.
It was the equivalent of a squash match Barry. Donald absolutely demolished her.
Damn right I did. But back to the main topic, gentlemen. This road to WrestleMania is packed with fun moments and great content. Like being able to sabotage Vince's speech, much like what DX did a few years prior.
I do love the callback at the start of the story, too. You basically do a Santino to the man himself, taking away his Intercontinental title as a fan, just like he did to Umaga. I think it deserves a nice sitting in the A tier for all the fun moments we just mentioned.
Excellent call there, Barry. I'm more than happy with this placement. And I can't wait to play through this story with you guys.
Next up, we've got the John Cena Road to WrestleMania from the 2011 game. What I love most about this story is the fact that this basically confirms that the SmackDown vs. Raw games do have some form of continuity. With Orton trying to use the same match rules on Cena and MVP that Porter himself tried to use on Cena back in the 2009 game.
I did love Orton referencing and actioning those rules here. But besides that, there's not too much going on with this story. Sure, it's nothing bad. It's got some cool moments like the friendship between MVP and Cena, which gets tested by Orton, who's pulling the strings. But in a game that has the Mysterio heel turn, the Christian and Edge fourth wall breaks, and Undertaker's streak story, this one just honestly feels pretty bland to me.
And that sucks because this did used to be my favorite road to WrestleMania in the 2011 game. But that was mainly because Cena was my childhood hero growing up.
Ignoring Joe's clear signs of dementia there, I agree with all your points, Donald. It's nothing bad. Just middle of the road stuff, so let's put this in B. I'd argue that Cena's 2009 road to WrestleMania should go in there too. Again, it's nothing bad. MVP's new country gimmick is pretty funny, but it doesn't really hold a candle to other road to WrestleMania stories we were given after this
There are two key points I take from this story. First off, I would shut down MVP's new country instantly, as no country is greater than the United States. Second of all, if Tony the Soldier was a real person, you can be absolutely sure that I'd be giving him a Medal of Honor, because that man is a legend.
The textbook example of hustle, loyalty, and respect. Never giving up and rising above hate. A true American hero.
May the legend be remembered till the ends of time. Hey Donald, you're going to love what we've got coming up next.
Oh, hell yes, boys, we have reached peak. Christian's road to WrestleMania is the absolute best when it comes to comedy in the series. Edge and Christian purposely breaking the fourth wall multiple times with their references, as well as the damn time machine. By the way, Joe, I appreciate you not using it to cost me the presidency like you threatened to do during our Undertaker Road to WrestleMania series.
Trust me, Donald, I did the country a service not using it when I found out some of the plans Kamala had in store for the country.
Guys, for the love of God, she's not that
Barry,
bad.
stop simping over Harris, otherwise I'm going straight to Manshell with this concerning development in regards to your feelings.
She's not a man!
I'm just going to move on from this uncomfortable situation by agreeing with Donald's points. I also like how ECW was a part of the story at the beginning. A little bittersweet seeing as the show had come to an end in real life months prior.
The thing I like most about this story are the two branching pathways which give you different endings. You can either cash in on Michaels and reach the top of the mountain alongside Edge, or cash in on Edge himself setting up a match between the two at Mania instead. Personally, I prefer the latter as we never got an Edge and Christian feud in the 2010s due to the Rated R Superstar's injury. So it's nice to create that scenario here.
ECW included, the Edge and Christian partnership, the amazing jokes, the time machine, the cash in, and the legendary 5-second pose all culminate to create an S-tier placement for this story, in my opinion.
An opinion I wholeheartedly share.
This reminds me of the time where I dreamed about the three of us doing our own 5-second pose.
I'd be down for doing that for real now that the two of us have swept our rivalry under the bus.
Moving on to Punk's road to WrestleMania from 2009 now. And this was actually a full-on ECW storyline, in which Taz in his older and wiser age wanted to put an end to the Extreme Wrestling after Dreamer was injured by Punk during a world title match.
I guess he got what he wanted since ECW basically became NXT 0.5 towards the end of its run and more or less forgot what the brand actually was, which in turn led to the end of the brand altogether. So good going, Taz, your vision is even worse than those idiots who run the UK.
It was still an interesting concept, though. It also made Punk look like an absolute rebel with him fighting to keep the extreme heart of ECW alive.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed playing this one. I'm just going to stick it in A, along with Edge's story from 2010.
I don't know, guys, this one made me feel a bit uncomfortable.
That's the point, Joe. You're playing as the biggest asshole that the WWE has ever made. You're basically playing through a standard Edge heel run. But the fact that it's executed just as well as it would have been on TV should earn it a place in the A tier too.
I've got no objections there, so let's just keep this one quick and put it in A. Oh, and here's another story that should go in this tier 2 in my opinion. The Shawn Michaels one, also from 2010.
Isn't this the one where JBL tries to retire Michaels?
Ironic considering John had retired himself by the time this game came out.
This had some fun moments. JBL putting the bounty on Michaels was a fun concept, as well as him trying to turn everyone he's had personal connections with against him. Another great story that should go into A.
It feels like we're all of a sudden speeding through these.
It's only because we've got a streak of stories that, whilst they're good, don't really have as many talking points in our opinion. So it's good to speed through those ones for the sake of pace. I understand you wouldn't know anything about that since you've never made a compelling speech ever in your life. And that's okay. Not everyone can be president twice.
Nice to know we can still make these jabs towards each other despite settling our animosity.
Why, fix what isn't broken is what I say, buddy.
Speaking of things that are broken, though, what was the point in this Triple H side story from WWE 12?
You guys didn't like this one?
It's more the fact that this just didn't need to exist. A road to WrestleMania story that doesn't actually centralize itself around the concept. You might as well just call this a career mode or something.
But they needed to reset things somewhat after the United Kingdom faction took all the gold in Sheamus' story.
If they wanted to reset the damage Sheamus' group caused, then THQ should have just done what they've been doing for years. Take Undertaker's and Christian's stories from the previous game, for example. Undertaker is doing something different in Christian's to show that the two stories are in different versions of the SmackDown versus Raw universe. Why couldn't it be the same here?
Exactly. I understand they wanted to do a type of endgame story where everything links. The problem is that in the Triple H story, we're given a time skip from the events of Sheamus's. So everything that happened in that one is never mentioned anyway. Not just that, but hardly anything from Triple H's is even mentioned in the created Superstar 1, which would follow. So there really was no point to it. There really is no reason for this to exist.
The story is just Miz as the general manager trying to one-up Triple H. I felt like I aged 15 more years playing through this. Stick it in C for that alone, Barack.
Let's move on to a better Triple H road to WrestleMania to make up for it. The one from 2009, where you have to choose to either reunite D-Generation X or Evolution.
Oh, this was a good one. Randy trying to manipulate the very person who brought him into the dance to begin with for the sake of staying on top. I respect him for trying to execute the craft, but it's just like Hillary challenging me for the presidency. I knew I had it in the bag from the get-go.
It feels like it's been 2 decades since that happened after this year's election.
It's another story with branching endings too. You can either compete for the title against Michaels and Orton, or stick with Shawn and topple Evolution in a tag team match instead. I felt satisfied with both outcomes.
Another strong road to WrestleMania. Barry, stick it in a...
Time for the Mysterio story from 2011.
Hear me out here, guys. I have a feeling you're both going to agree for this to go in S. But I have to respectfully disagree.
And why is that, Joe?
Don't get me wrong, the heel Mysterio stuff is great. Unlocking Rob Van Dam through playing this one is awesome. And overall, I'd say it's a well-crafted story. The problem I have with this is that the story is crafted from a terrible condition, with Ray suffering from amnesia due to Swagger crashing into his car, as a man who struggles to remember things daily. This road to WrestleMania honestly makes me feel a bit uncomfortable until Ray gets his memories back, and unfortunately that has lowered the excitement for me whenever I go back to play this one.
Wow. I won't lie, Joe, I wasn't expecting something as deep as that. I respect the fact that you shared this with us.
I completely agree. Joe's opinion should definitely come into consideration here. With that said, I say we bump it down to A. Does that work?
If it's a high A, then that's fine.
I've got no problems with that.
Now we've got the Sheamus road to WrestleMania that we mentioned earlier. Now, while the ending scene of him holding all the gold is legendary, I didn't really care too much for the United Kingdom faction. And that kind of took away the enjoyment I had for this story.
Him recreating that image in real life, though, was absolutely goated.
Oh, this is beautiful.
I do agree that the United Kingdom faction wasn't that exciting. Plus, the stupidity of the politics over there just adds a further sour taste to my mouth. Boss! That said, though, it's the closest thing we've got to a Wade Barrett world title run, so it deserves points for that.
We'll stick it in B for that then. Right, okay, this one is just bizarre. The Undertaker road to WrestleMania from 2009.
The one that included the Boogeyman coming back and trying to end everyone with his stick, and Taker turning Santino and Finlay into zombies.
Just talking about it makes me feel like I'm watching a Uvox tweaking president's video.
It definitely covers the more witchcrafty side of the Deadman character, which I'm honestly not a fan of.
But it did have a goated Hell in a Cell match at Mania, so surely that has to count towards the story's placement.
Sure, I'll go ahead and stick it in B for that. Let's quickly go over the actual goated Undertaker road to WrestleMania now.
I mean, let's not spoil it too much. Instead, anyone who hasn't checked out our Undertaker road to WrestleMania playthrough should go watch that instead after this video. Creator include a link to the playlist so they can check it out.
I'll give the viewers a basic coverage of it then. It involves you taking on the task of challenging the Deadman for his streak. He'll try his regular mind games on you, as well as challenge you by putting you up against some of his old legendary opponents. Again, as Donald said, you can go watch our series on it to fully understand how awesome it is. It's definitely going into S.
But not at the top of S, because of Jimmy Snuka being included in this.
Fair enough. Next up, we've got Jericho's road to WrestleMania, also from 2011. It's basically the same concept as Edge's from the previous year. You're more or less playing a basic heel Jericho run, which is once again done tremendously well.
The Jerry Tron spot was a great callback to Jericho and Shawn's masterful feud back in 2008. Absolute chef's kiss. That alone made this a memorable story for me.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones that doesn't need too much in-depth analysis. This story does what it says on the box and does it very well. Stick it in A.
I'm going to say the same for his 2009 road to WrestleMania too. Can we agree on that?
I would have argued S tier if they kept up the awesome hype from Jericho's vignettes being used against him at the start of the story, but I felt like it lost a bit of pace after the masked attacker's identity was revealed.
Yeah, but I still find it pretty cool how Randy was the one behind it, seeing as he used to be in the military. Unfortunately, he doesn't follow the lead of America's greatest soldier, Tony, from Cena's story in this game.
Military Orton versus Tony the Soldier. Book it, Hunter.
Incredible match between these two.
I also enjoyed the part of the story where Jericho's interrogating any potential suspects who attacked him. It has a lot of charm to it. But I also agree with Donald's previous points, so yeah, we'll give it an A.
Was that the last one?
Not quite. There was a couple on here which didn't have the best quality images. Those being the Mickie James story from 2009 and the Orton story from 2010. So I say let's wrap things up here and quickly give our takes on these final two road to WrestleManias.
Brian Kendrick completely ruins the Mickie James story. If you didn't pick Natalya to side with, then you're a Harris supporter. Natalya fawning over Mickie was a great callback to Mickie doing the same thing to Trish years prior. So Kendrick aside, there's a lot of charm to this one. The Orton story was awesome in my opinion. We saw the breakup of Legacy a year earlier, and we got to revisit Randy being the legend killer, throwing Undertaker off the cell and attacking Ted, aka the original $1 Million Man, and Dusty Rhodes. We call 2009 Randy Orton a menace for good reason.
Let me guess, the new $1 Million Man is you?
Well, of course. I was the $1 Million champion once upon a time after all.
I thought the Women's Rumble and Mickie story was pretty neat. It was pretty crazy to see during the Prime Divas era. And yeah, playing Orton's story reminded me just how awful of a person Randy's character was back in the day. But I still enjoyed it regardless.
I agree with all said points, gentlemen. With that said, how about we stick Randy's story in S? And Mickey's an A.
That works for me.
Same here.
Good stuff, gentlemen. I'm sure everyone is going to hate these placements. But hey, that's the creator's problem, not ours.
In that case, Trump, now that we're no longer enemies, it's time for you to take part in a little tradition I have.
What tradition is that? Sleeping for 24 hours?
No, I'm going to do that one on my own when you become president in January. The tradition you're going to take part in is getting some celebratory ice cream with me and Barry.
Well, why not? Let's bury the presidential hatchet between the three of us that I've opened from supporting Kamala Harris, because at the end of the day, our love for the United States will always band the three of us together.
Spoken like a true President Barry. All right then, guys, let's go get some ice cream.